Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special live edition of the Ocean Cyclone Show. We are here on the wonderful July 4th for America, at least. It is now July 5th here in Australia, and I think it is July 5th in Europe as well, but it's a very late, well, very early July 5th, I should say. So they're probably all in bed asleep. But welcome, everyone, to the first live edition of the Ocean Cyclone Show, part of the Wrestling Network. We are here because we are so excited for the 5-Star Grand Prix, which of course starts July 23rd. 20 of the best wrestlers in Stardom coming together to find out who truly is the best. With me, as always, for the Ocean Cyclone Show is 1/3, of course, the mild rhino, the teach who loves the beach, Ryan Dilbert. How are we going today?
Excellent. Celebrating America's independence, eat some hot dogs, overcharging for medicine, all the American.
You personally were overcharging for medicine? Your kids came to you with a stomach ache.
If I really wanted to be American,
$45?
yeah, insulin, $1,000, just randomly assign numbers to medicine people need. That's the American way. So here we are.
Well, I didn't want to bag out America today because it is your day. But I'm going to leave that up to you because I feel like you as Americans, you can bag out your own country. If it's coming from me and Aussie, it just kind of sounds bitter and, like, but you guys
I could just hit you with the how's the Wi-Fi and we'd be all set.
Well, I think I'm still live and streaming. So you can hear me speaking and the Wi-Fi is good enough. 47th in the world or something. That's all we need. But how are you going, Scott?
I'm going great. It's the best time of the year. I think every weekend in Japan from now until like September has a big show or a tournament show. So I couldn't be happier if I tried. And I'm happy to be here for the first time live on the Ocean Cyclone Show. I'm a little terrified because we say a lot of things and those are usually, recorded and I can forget about it by the time it comes out. Not today, though. Not today.
Well, the good thing is, like, I was a little concerned as well, but for all of the crap that we say, and there is a lot of crap that we say, I don't actually have to cut that much out. Very rarely do I think you specifically, Scott, say anything where it's like, oh, I think I've got to find a way to get that off the podcast so we're not all cancelled. So you should be okay. But this is a live stream, so we'll see what happens. How did you celebrate July 4th?
I went out with my family and I came home and I watched John Moxley get spikes put in his head. So if that's not American, then I don't know what is.
Yeah, I'm really keen to see the Independence Day shows that I haven't got a chance to watch the first one yet because Gaijin was running simultaneously. So I picked that.
Priorities, of course.
Exactly. Well, that's free. I don't have to pay for that one. So that's we're talking about America and freedom. That was free. So that's why I went with that. But yeah, I am very excited to see that. How did the women's match go?
It went really well. I thought Tekla was the star of the match, which actually wasn't too shocking to me because you have Willow and you have Julia kind of saving their stuff for tomorrow, of course, or today, where you're from. But I'm excited personally because I think they're going to have one hell of a match, and a lot of things are going on in terms of Stardom and America and the world, and I'm rattled about it, but I'm excited nonetheless.
Yeah, neither of you guys celebrated with spikes and bleeding today?
Well, I did watch the match. I guess I technically did.
Yeah. As long as you're holding your hand over your heart, maybe.
The hats were off.
When Jun Kasai made the most electric entrance of all time, because let me tell you, it was incredible. I just put my hand over my heart. I was like, this is America.
I will just say, of the three of us, I'm the only one not wearing my hat, which, so I'm being polite. I am doing the proper thing by the flag that is now on the screen.
Yes.
But we're not here for Mesa Ruga as much as
bad hair day. Leave me alone.
every day is a bad hair day for me. We're not here for Mesa Ruga. We're here for the 5-Star Grand Prix. And what we're going to be doing today is going through all 20 contestants. We're going to be talking about how we think they're going to go, maybe things we're excited for. We've got a little bit of facts and trivia for you guys heading in as well. A couple of questions if you want to answer them. But But yeah, this is what we're here for. We finally know all 20 contestants, and as of Sunday, we know who the champions are heading into the 5-Star Grand Prix, which is a very important little wrinkle that we have to consider. And what I wasn't expecting to learn was that we know the preparations for some of these wrestlers. Speaking of America, one of them's heading over there to prepare. So that's quite the surprising, quite the exciting news, I think. But kicking things off, what I want to do is talk about, like, specifically one thing we're going to do is we're going to rate each wrestler. And what we're going to be doing for that is we've got a little 5-star rating system. So when we go through each wrestler, you will then give them a score out of 5 stars. If they have 5 stars, they're a finalist. If they have 4 stars, they're a contender. 3 stars means they're a pretender. 2 stars means they're just happy to be there. And 1 star means they're cashing them checks. So I'm going to ask each of you what you're expecting from that. And as we go through, I've got some facts, some trivia. I know Ryan's done some preparation. Scott has done appearances, which is all that we ask of him.
I have never prepped, and I never will.
That's why we love you, having you on board.
But he also has his finger on the pulse of Stardom. He watches every single thing, like, he knows the vibes before they happen.
Thanks for backing me up.
I'm feeling that.
Someone's got to back you up, Scott.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna. I got the schedule up over here that I'm prepared. How prepared do you need me to be? That's all I need.
Okay.
Yeah, Trent and I were talking.
When you ask me for my most anticipated match, I'm gonna have the date, the time, and the match ready to go.
That is prepped.
You're going to be able to tell us exactly what time it starts.
If I told you it started at 3 a.m. Eastern, you'd believe me.
Probably. But like specifically, like if it's third on the show, you'll be able to tell us how far into the show, like to the minute it'll start.
That's what I'm here for.
That's what I'm expecting.
Being the best.
Well, the first thing I want to just mention is quickly, for those of you who don't follow the 5-Star Grand Prix religiously, and there may be some of you out there, this is the 12th time they've run the 5-Star Grand Prix. There have been no 2-time winners in its history, which could be an important little fact as we talk about who's favourites and who's not. And the very first winner of the 5-Star Grand Prix was Yuzuki Aikawa, who, of course, was the first ever Wonder of Stardom champion and did quite a few good things in Stardom in her short run and career. Another fun fact, there have been 2 wrestlers that have entered a 5-Star Grand Prix but never won a match in the tournament. Can either of you guys name them?
Ruaka.
Chris Wolf?
Yes. No, Chris Wolf did. She got 3 points in her 3-year run. Ruaka was correct in 2021. She didn't win a single match, despite, especially Oedo Tai's best efforts in that final night.
Can't think off the top of my head. You should be impressed I got 1 right.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. And if you had got Haruka Kato in 2015, I would have been even more impressed.
Not a chance.
Yeah, she had 1 year in the 5-Star Grand Prix. She didn't win a single match. So Ruaka technically did worse because she had more chances to win. 2021 was a bigger field than 2015, but she didn't win. Another fun fact, maybe not so fun for some of us here, but Hudson Envy in 2015 and Tessa Blanchard in 2016 were the most efficient point getters in 5-Star Grand Prix history. Through their run that year in their respective years, they only lost 1 match in the group tournament. So they only gave up 2 points. Both went on to make the finals. Both went on to lose the finals. So
that's so
yeah.
Hudson Envy.
I didn't expect some Tessa Blanchard thoughts here.
Well, Tessa Blanchard, like she is/was good. Hudson Envy, I think, is most known for the fact that her name is Hudson Envy.
Fair. That's a fair.
And the final fact, unsurprisingly, Mayu Iwatani has scored more points in the history of the tournament than
You're goddamn right. Sorry.
Amassing 82 points in her 9 runs in the 5-Star Grand Prix, which means she averages 9.1 points a year, which I think we can all safely say will not be enough to advance to the final this year. But that is taking into account when she wasn't the icon of Stardom and taking into account smaller tournaments. So there are wrestlers with better averages, but they haven't been in the for 9 years, heading on 10 years.
Yeah,
And
and
you're scaring the folks on this
I'm
firework voice.
I'm going to out myself by saying I initially didn't see Mayu Iwatani on the list,
Mm-hmm.
and I like wrote all the names down, and I was like, why the hell isn't Mayu? And like, is she dead? Like, why wouldn't she be on here?
Jesus.
Guys,
You
tell me.
naturally jumped to dead, did you?
Yeah, you could have
I'll
said
pat my
anything
pessimist.
else, and maybe I would have lived.
I
with
just missed her. That's all.
Yeah.
She is
I
on
appreciate
there.
you admitting that.
Yes, I know. I have no
Yeah,
shame.
he messaged me this morning like,
Because it doesn't make any sense.
In the tournament? I'm like, she is. She's in the red block, and so
Yeah.
But we'll go through. We'll see if I've missed anyone on the pictures. But are we ready to start rating some women?
Yes.
Why'd you say it like that?
I don't know. It just
That
naturally
sounded
came to
odd.
me.
Yeah, that did sound off.
It's especially going to sound odd because the first person on the list is Azumi. We're starting with the blue block.
Okay.
Now,
14
Azumi, of
points
course, is
less.
representing Queen's Quest. This is her 5th appearance. And in the 2022 5-Star Grand Prix, she amassed 14 points, which is kind of a running trend on that year. You will notice 14 points was a very popular score to end up with. Scott, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on an Azumi in a tournament like this?
One, before we do the rating thing, can you remind me what 3 is supposed to be?
3 is Pretender.
Thank you. Okay. Well, the world famous AZM, thank you, Mercedes Monet. She is one of my favorite tournament wrestlers. One, not only because she always tries, obviously, but especially this year, she will now be the main spoiler of her block because there's no Saki Kashima, there's no Kogama, there's no Fukigen Death. That leaves a really big spot for Azumi to get a lot of big key wins in this tournament to bring some of the top stars down while also getting a healthy amount of points. With this being her first tournament where I feel like she's making that step up now from the high speed division a little bit. Obviously, she's still a high speed wrestler. But with this being her first big time tournament, I think, especially based off her age down with her being older and things like that, I'm really excited. And her block and the potential matchups makes me all the more excited. Do you want me to give my rating now for AZM or do you want me to hold it?
Why not? Give your rating now because you've kind of explained your thoughts on her heading in.
Yeah. So she's like, for me, an easy 3. Because I think when I say Pretender, every year she's in this tournament, she often has a healthy amount of points. And I look at this block and I see a lot of potential points for her. She'll probably lose to the likes of a Mariah May and, folks like that. But she's going to get wins over maybe an Utami, maybe a Julia, those big key wins that can, really propel you towards that last night. And she's not going to be a contender. Like, I don't think anyone's going to this year saying, oh, yeah, this is Azumi's year, folks. But it is a year where she should be at least in the middle of that block, I think.
Yeah. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I think she gets a tough draw. There's like some really big names in the block, and she's just not on that tier. She's not that top tier. So she's going to be below some of these names we're going to talk about. People who have won before. I would love to see her win, but I think that's coming in the future, a year or two, maybe. Another thing I did some, just to kind of get a sense of the general momentum booking wise, I pulled every wrestler's record for the last 10 singles matches. It's not a perfect stat because not all wins are equal. But if you're 0 for 10, you're not winning the 5-star, right? So she's got 7, 2, and 1 in her last 10. But a lot of that's defending the high-speed belt. She's going up into another level. I think this will be like a proving ground year for her to show that she belongs. A lot like Hiromu being a junior and then showing himself against the heavies. A lot like that. I think it's going to be really fun, but it's not quite time. So I agree with Scott. I did a 3, even though Pretender sounds a little harsh.
Well, let's be honest. Like most of these rankings are harsh once you get past 4
Yeah,
stars.
I don't know if I agree with the rating system because 1 is like just nothing.
No
Well,
One
that's
is
the
chance.
point. You just cash
But
in your
like
pay.
2 and 1 are very similar. They're like the same exact thing. You're just disrespecting someone with 1, which is fine because I have someone to disrespect. Don't get me wrong. But
I'm shocked that you want to disrespect someone.
well,
Especially
Jungle
in this
Kiona's
tournament.
not in this, so we gotta make up for it.
She's 6-star. She breaks the scale.
Yeah.
Hasn't come close to
She
5
does
in a
just
row.
know that I don't think she should have shot Trent.
She is the definition of pretender.
I will believe that she can win this tournament until the final night, and then it's just not realistic. They're going to give her the gauntlet matches to get up there. But yeah, she's the winner in my heart. And
I hope there's no Jungle fans out there watching this live. You watch this post, I don't care. Don't watch it live.
well, I'm watching this live, Scott, and I'm a Jungle fan.
Yeah, you don't count.
I never count. Azumi is, she's in that interesting position. I think Scott made a really good point. We don't have the designated spoiler in a Saki Kashima or a Fukigen Death or a Koguma. And so the high-speed wrestlers are going to be serving that role. And Azumi is probably the best of the bunch in doing that, which does mean she'll pick up victories that maybe you wouldn't expect her to. Like she's beaten Shuri a couple of times. I think she can potentially do that again in this kind of situation. My concern with her and her potential here in this tournament is because everything's condensed this year. There's only 10 people in each block. There's not a lot of matches where you would go in expecting Azumi to be the clear favorite. I think it's safe to say she should beat Hanan. She should beat Mariah May. And then it's all kind of, maybe. She might beat Momo Watanabe, but it's far from clear. She might beat Mina Shirakawa, but Mina's a former white belt champion. She might beat Mariah, current white belt champion. Like the jump from that bottom to the top in the blue block is so aggressive. I could see her being third from the bottom when this block finishes out, which giving 3 stars for that is kind of difficult. But I think Azumi's done so well, and she always manages to score points against people you don't expect her to, that I will give her a 3, but it's a biased 3. Because, I could see her finishing with maybe 6 to 8 points, which isn't that impressive in the long run. Mainly because I don't see where the guaranteed victories are coming from outside of Hanan and Mariah May.
But I think Mariah May beats her. That's the funny thing.
Look, it's very possible that, because Mariah May
opening night.
Yeah, that she needs to get a couple of wins. She's a tag team champion, so she's not going to lose every match she's in. No. So it'll be interesting to see.
I don't like that.
You got to remember, Azumi is now the longest reigning high-speed champion. That is prestige that we have to respect.
Yeah.
We do have to respect that, and I think they will too.
And of course, the champion is not in the tournament. She ran off, but she's joined God's Eye, so she's very happy.
She's busy being protected now.
Well, she's going to take no losses in this tournament, so that's an improvement on the previous years.
This is true.
The next contestant is, of course, Julia, who was last year's winner, making her 4th appearance. She won with 16 points, made it to the final, beat Tam Nakano, went all the way, and is the current reigning and defending Artist of Stardom champion. Ryan, what are your thoughts on the only Artist of Stardom champion being represented in this tournament?
Well, in one sense, like Julia is top tier, right? One of the biggest stars of the company. But the history says don't bet on her because there's never been a repeat winner. There's never been back-to-back winners, obviously. That would be a big jump. And I don't think there's been someone who's had another title like an Artist of Stardom and won. So that would be a lot of history making. She's 7-2-1 the last 10. If I pull that stat, which is just another proof, like she's, a big dog here. I think she's just below the person I think is gonna be the finalist. So I put a 4 for her. If anybody's gonna win it twice, could be her. She's got a lot of story left to tell. Her reign was short. There's more to do, but I don't feel good about putting her higher than a 4.
Yeah, that makes sense. Scott?
It's currently 20 Eastern. If we waited about, I don't know, 12 hours or so, you can add another title to that logo.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you have somewhere in your computer that ready to go that says New Japan Strong Women's Champion as well. But for now, I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
totally. I
assume-
didn't forget that that's a title I'm going to have to add to that graphic.
Yeah, you sure
Very
are. So
prestigious.
you're welcome. And I do agree with Fusa. These graphics are crazy good. So I will give credit to Trent here. That being said, it'll probably be wrong in a few hours, but that's okay.
It's okay. The written articles don't go out until
if-
closer to, so I can edit and adjust.
If you're watching this later, after that match has happened, just remember we did this before. We were respecting it before. That being said, Julia's a very interesting case this year. Past 2 years, she's gone in as a favorite. This year, I think a lot of people are kind of discounting her in a lot of ways. And I say that because we have to remember what happened when she lost the World of Stardom title. Everyone said she'll get it back eventually. Why can't it be now? Right? Why can't she just go back to back and beat Tam? Would that be the craziest thing Stardom's ever done? No, the craziest thing Stardom ever done is made Tam Nakano a double champion. But here we are. We're in the year of crazy, folks. I'm still going to give Julia a 4 because I think she is a legitimate contender this year and does deserve respect. But you told me 5 is the winner, and I'm not picking her as the winner. So you gave me no choice but to give her a 4. I do think that there is some legitimacy to Julia doing a back-to-back. If there were anyone to ever do a back-to-back in the history of the 5-Star Grand Prix, Julia would sure be at the top of that list for me in the thought process. I'm excited for her tournament. Obviously, last year she had the best tournament, and she kind of is a little crazy lately in terms of just wanting to do a million things. She wants to wrestle Toni Storm. She wants to wrestle Mercedes Moné. She wants the New Japan Strong Women's title. She wants to go overseas. But at the end of the day, you put Tam back in her sights. I know what she's going to want more than anything. Because while she said she wants to go overseas, she also said the red belt means more than that IWGP Women's belt. She made sure to say that because she hasn't forgotten that. So I think Julia's worth the consideration, but I can't crown her the winner because I have someone else in mind for that. Maybe 2. But it's not Julia for now, but I think she deserves the respect.
Yeah, you could very easily make a case for finishing Dream Queendom at the end of the year with Tam Julia, because we know they've put that on their 2 biggest shows in the history of Stardom, and they've all done gangbusters. That is a guaranteed sale, and that story, it isn't finished.
It's incomplete.
Yeah, it's going to keep going. You could very easily make a case for, because it does matter what are you putting on the main event of what. Arguably, probably your second biggest show of the year, Dream Queendom. That's kind of where it is. We're assuming Dream Queendom's happening again at Ryogoku Hall at December 29 because they are building to that tradition. I could be wrong. They might run Shinkiba first ring as the final show of the year. Probably not.
Real quick, before you finish your Julia point, can you bring up Fusa's latest comment? Because I want to explain.
Here we go.
I see. Yeah, I do have no faith in Willow. You know why I have no faith in Willow? And this is me being as respectful as possible. She's not supposed to be champion anyways.
Oh.
The belt was made for Mercedes Moné. Made for her. I watched Independence Day today. The first day. Julia lost that match. She ain't losing twice. There's just no way. I know Tekla was pinned, but there ain't no way that we're losing twice. If she was going to lose today at day 2, in Aussie terms, day 2, or in Japan, it's already today. If she were to lose today, she would have won yesterday. I'm all for the 50-50 booking when it comes to Tony Khan's involvement, and I think that is a real thing. I love Willow. I think she fits right in with this roster if she ever wants to, come on over. But we're building to Julia Mercedes Moné. That's the money match, folks. You could do Willow and Mercedes at somewhere down the line, but it doesn't need to be for the title.
So what we have though is Momo Kogo has got her win back in New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is the important thing in all of this. Yes. I agree with you guys. I think Julia is a strong 4. I think she's probably going to be in the running for advancing in the final night, and her final night matchup, which is Utami Hayashishita, for the first time ever. That is a match that will probably determine the block. one way or another. It's too conveniently placed there. But yeah, I think Julia challenges, gets close, but will fall short because as exciting as Julia Tam, again, a Dream Queen to me is, I do think there's probably a couple of different directions they can go, regardless of if they want Tam to leave 2023 as the champion or not. Because I don't know what they want there. That's an interesting question. Up next is Hanan, who is making her second appearance and will be hoping to do better than her 2024 record of 4 points. But that could be difficult. Could be difficult with the reduced numbers in each block. I like what she's doing, especially the transformation she's made this year, the new look, the new music. I think it was a necessary evolution to her character moving forward. She needs to get away from the high school stuff, I think, to take that next step. We've seen what happens with Momo Watanabe, with Azumi, with Starlight Kid. Once they graduate, sort of big things can come for them. If it was last year with the big chunky blocks, I would be very confident she'd rack up maybe 8 points. With only 9 people to face and all of them being substantially higher on the card than her, I think she's going to struggle to maybe even match her record from last year. As much as I hate to say it, I'm giving her a 1 star for this tournament. She's cashing them checks, which is good because she's fresh out of high school. She's got to build up her savings fund
she needs some money,
before making a more serious run next year. What are you thinking, Scott?
You should put nicknames on all these, like the nicknames of each wrestler. So it could be like the Icon, Future Ace, Foreign Ace, things like that. Just an idea. Maybe a little.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, well, you could do it this year too. You haven't released it yet. Just saying.
No pressure.
But Hanan, I'm just happy she's in the tournament, truthfully, because there was a chance she wasn't going to be, and I think she's more important to be in this tournament than, frankly, everyone that missed it. I know a lot of people want Tekla in there. I know there's Koguma fans, Sakikashima fans, but to me, Hanan needed to be in this more than anyone. That future ace tag that she's been given, that people have recognized. We have Mirai tweeting about that. We have people tweeting about that. They recognize what she is. So to me, the most important part for her was getting into this tournament. Now that she's in, it does make for an exciting case for her as to what does she do this year in a block full of heavy hitters, in a block that's, there's not a lot of room for her to succeed necessarily this year. But this is someone that Stardom wants to get behind, and they'll slowly get behind her. I think she can match her points. I think she can get one normal win over maybe a Mariah May, and then maybe a fluke type win over someone surprising, because she has enough in her arsenal to pull something off like that. She shouldn't be going down with 0 points, because this is someone, again, they want to build up. So I'm excited for what Hanan has to do. I'll give her a 2, mostly because I don't remember what the difference between 2 and 1 is, but 2 sounds more respectable.
2 is happy to be there. 1 is cashing them checks.
I mean, did you see that picture? She's clearly happy to be there.
She's always happy to be here.
Yeah, so
she's literally pointing to her smile.
So it should automatically be 2. If she's happy to be there, then clearly it's
there you go.
Number 2.
Hey, that's smart. You're using my logic against me. That's very fine of you. One thing I did want to actually bring up before we go to Ryan's thoughts is you mentioned something in the build up to this, which I thought was very poignant. Is last year in her block, there was a lot of people she's familiar with. Your Mayus and stuff where she, you can put it on a match. You've kind of had that experience with them. This year, though, she's in a block where she doesn't have that luxury. There's no fellow stars wrestlers in there that she kind of knows really well. There's Sayori Inu, who she hasn't really wrestled against much, that kind of situation. So this is kind of another chance for her to sort of prove how far along she is and how good she is. It's obviously we'll be talking about matches we're excited for a little bit later, but as probably the biggest Hanan fan of the trio here, are there any matches in particular you're excited to see her and sort of what she can do with them?
Her and Utami.
That one I was thinking
jumps out to me. Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, Micah. Probably a similar thought, but why Utami?
Utami is the flag bearer for Stardom now. When me and Trent recorded following Sunshine? Was it Sunshine? Just
Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Yep.
I get it wrong every time. I've watched the name change online too. I think they call it Stardom in Sunshine now on the Stardom World. Whatever. Either way, Sunshine. After that, I called her the new ace. And I do think that Utami is now a proving point for a lot of people in this block, not just the young wrestler of, say, Hanan, but everyone. And I think that match jumps out to me because that's going to be the where is she in this growth? Where is she going against a potential winner, a contender, but also, the face of this company? Can she ever get to that level? Well, let's see against the person that's right there, right now.
Yeah, I had similar thoughts about why Micah. Micah's not as high on the hierarchy, but she's bigger, she's stronger. Like, she will be a proven ground. Like, what's your toughness? What's your fighting spirit? Can you handle, like, the big bruiser? And I think it's going to be a really good match. The Hanan will probably lose, but it's going to stylistically, that's my jam.
So, what's your star rating for Hanan?
I think Hanan's going to win the 5-star Grand Prix in 2025.
Okay.
But for this one,
I don't have to give you a blood alcohol test.
This one, a two. Like, I think she'll win one or two matches, maybe a draw. Not the bottom of the barrel. The bottom of the barrel is coming up next, I think, if I'm doing my alphabet right. But just slightly higher than that.
Well, let's find out if Ryan was right.
No, I did do it wrong.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it now.
Well, look,
nope,
maybe
not that one.
Maybe you think Mike is the bottom of the barrel.
Oh, no, not that one.
Yeah, you've done
Another M.
Yeah, look, it is M and it is I, but I do have to agree that is a Charles Barkley level guarantee from Ryan there that Micah is going to be the bottom of the blue block barrel.
No, don't repeat that one. Repeat the 2025.
So why, Ryan, do you think? We'll start with you. Why do you think Micah's not winning a single match this year?
No, I comes before R, as I'm learning right now.
You're the teacher of the trio, aren't you?
Yes.
What do you?
I'm on break, brain dead, watching too much wrestling.
What do you teach, Ryan?
Writing, reading. I think Micah is like a dark horse. I don't think she's going to win, but she's going to do super well. Just the timing lines up. Like, last year, she was third. And I think she's probably in that same zone. And I put a 4. I would bet Julia over Micah, but Micah's wouldn't blow my mind the way that some of these other people would if she won. Micah seems more like a block winner too, like Himeka going to the finals but not winning, that kind of level. Yes, not bottom of the barrel, absolutely not.
That makes a bit more sense. Mike is a really interesting case. I kind of agree with you. Like, if the blocks had shaped out differently, I could see her very well making the final of the 5-star Grand Prix. I don't think she's going to win it, not this year. But I think she's the kind of person you can put in, kind of like Himeka was, kind of like Utami was back in 2018. Someone, or even Konami in 2019, someone who is a really interesting opponent for the finalists, who can put on a fantastic match and gain a certain bump from being there. I could see her winning the tournament even if it wasn't theoretically leading towards one of the biggest shows of the year. I don't see them main eventing Dream Queendom with Micah, unfortunately. If we're like, even if it was the Cinderella tournament where you're not getting that kind of spotlight, but you're getting a mid to high level pay-per-view, yeah, I could see that. But I think ultimately she's not quite pushed at that level yet. But given the year she's had in the build-up to this 5-star Grand Prix, she's won a lot of matches. She's been getting the pinfalls for a lot of matches. And she's looking better than ever. Like her 2023, I've got her as a low-key MVP for Stardom. She's been that good. So I'm really excited to see what she does in this 5-star Grand Prix, because she always has banger matches. Like her match with Utami last year was one of the matches of the tournament. So I'm really excited to see what she ends up doing. She's a very strong 4-star for me.
We're in an interesting spot with Micah, because if you told me she was in the Red Stars block this year opposing certain people, I would have her as a lock for the finals. I really would, because it felt like that's what she felt like she was going to be in that Momo Watanabe role from 2 years ago, right, where she went to the finals against Shuri. She felt like that made sense. The way they're building her up, this dominant force who isn't losing. She's like, the only time you ever see her involved in the end of the match really is if she's winning, and winning with the Michinoku driver number 2. Like, that is what we've been accustomed to this year with Micah ever since Himeka's retired. But she is in a tough block. Maybe the toughest block to get to the finals in many ways, because I think the other block is a little bit more wide open as you look at it. The Blue Stars block feels like it's, either one or the other to me. That being said, Micah, like I said, would be someone I see as a finalist had she been in the other one, because that's the type of year she's had. So at the very least, she is a 4. She is a contender this year. I think Foose had a good point. Top 3 finish in the block sounds pretty healthy to me for Micah. She's going into the last night against Mirai. That's a big match. She's going to be facing the Wonder of Stardom champion on the final night. Now, is that how she ultimately loses? Very possible. Or is that how Mirai ultimately loses? Very possible. Micah's also an interesting spot. She feels like if you told me she was in the Wonder of Stardom title match at the year-end event, I'd say, yeah, that makes sense. But not the World.
Yeah.
I just don't see that. It's why the Mirai match does make sense, though, because maybe that's where her spot will be rather than the world title spot. I think she's going to have an incredible tournament, as she often does. Her matches with Julia, Utami, Mirai. I've been waiting for that Mirai match forever. My never open weight special. Can't wait for that one. Her match with Momo, though, those two always have good chemistry. I think she's going to have a great tournament. Could be a potential MVP if you want to talk about people that aren't winning. That I usually like to crown the MVP as someone who doesn't win, unless you're Shuri in 2021. Then, I mean, it's not even a question.
Julia in 2022.
Yeah, it's been a little unfair the past 2 years. But my point stands. If
she could definitely do that.
If you're looking for a non-winner MVP, she has as good a chance as anyone. I'll keep her at 4. I'm looking forward to her tournament.
Yeah, I think she's definitely one of the people I'm most excited to see, especially with that block setup, because she's one of the resident hosses. She wants to prove herself as the strongest wrestler in Stardom, and she's got some hosses to work against. Utami's a big one. Obviously, you've got Mirai, who isn't a size hoss, but wrestles like one, and then someone like Momo, who will test her with kicks. Julia is going to push her to the limit and back. That's a really exciting block for her. Speaking of exciting, first time in the 5-star Grand Prix is Mirai May, who I think many people have as one of the shining stars of 2023 for Stardom. He came in at the start of the year. I know I was kind of like, okay, what are you doing here, Rossi? But he proved me wrong, and Mirai proved me wrong. She's had an incredible 2023. She's been crowned the Goddess of Stardom champion, which I'm really excited for her to get. Not just because it means she's sticking around a bit again. Obviously she's here for the tournament, but she's probably sticking around for a bit after that as well. It's going to be very interesting to see what she manages here. I'm not confident she's going to win a lot of matches. I think she finishes higher than Hanan just because she's a champion. But it is one of those sort of, you could make an argument either way because of Hanan's position in the company moving forward. I think she finishes second from the bottom, unfortunately. So I will give her happy to be here, 2-star rating for her in this year's tournament. But I think a lot of people are happy for her to be in the tournament as well, given the hard work she's put in. What do you think, Scott?
Well, as a Mariah May approved podcaster, as
Shout that
someone
plug out.
someone who has been approved by Mariah May, big fan of hers. Obviously, I think everything she's done this year has either proved a lot of people wrong or proved a lot of people right, because there were a lot of supporters for her when she joined. But ultimately, who has won is pretty much everyone that follows Stardom, because she has quickly become one of the best international talents they've ever had. I'm willing to say she's already top 5, truthfully, in terms of at least in ring. I think she's been phenomenal, and I think this is her time to shine. She's been waiting for these big singles matches. She's been asking Mayu Iwatani for an IWGP Women's Title match since the moment she first saw the damn title. Yeah, like she wants these shots. It's very much something she wants. And as we saw this past Sunday in the tag title match, she can hang with anyone. She hung in there with Shuri. No one just goes in there with Shuri and hang. Like that is a proving ground in this company. And I'm very excited to see what Mariah May does. This is an interesting case, because I think if she was in another block, or if this was just another year where the tournament wasn't as stacked, she would be someone who is going to prove that she could be higher than maybe people expect. Because if there's ever one Rossi trait in terms of booking the 5-star Grand Prix, it's always a surprise that gets pretty high. Unagi Sayaka 2 years ago was one of those options. You just told me Tessa Blanchard went to the damn finals, right? I think Mariah May would be that any other year, but she is in a block that features potential winners, former winners, another debutee who is already higher on the card, truthfully. She maybe doesn't have a title, but she just main evented the most recent pay-per-view, right? So it's a tough year for Mariah May to get a lot of points, but God, I'm going to be rooting for her too. I'm going to be excited. She's already teased going high speed against Azumi on that first night. That is something that I interviewed her about. And I asked, do you want to go for the high speed title? Because she had flashed against Starlight Kid, I think, in a tag in her early days. And I'm really excited because that's a match that I wanted. And now we're going to get it. I think she's, probably number 2. Maybe if anyone at the bottom of their blocks out of the 4, I guess that we'll say the 4, bottom block people, she would be the closest to a pretender out of the 4. But I'm very excited to see what she does. I'll give her a 2, but I think she's going to have a hell of a tournament, prove a lot more people wrong and a lot more people right, and take home that Most Improved Wrestler of the Year award. Because I think she's a shoo-in for that, based off of just the little I've seen from before. But she's a complete star over there.
Well, even if you just compare what she was doing in the first couple of matches, it took her a couple of matches, but she twigged on quick, and now it looks like she's been a part of Stardom for a couple of years.
Yes.
What are your thoughts, Ryan?
Just one last thing before Ryan goes. It's incredible what she did from like January to February. Someone made that point to me yesterday, and it's like, no one should improve that quickly, right? But she just got used to the physicality of Stardom quicker than I think a lot of new people do, let alone if that's a rookie, another Joshi wrestler. Like, she just adjusted to that very quickly, and I'm excited to see what she does when she gets the shot.
Yeah, you guys are higher on her chances than I am. Not because of ability. Like, what you're saying is true. Like, she's proved herself. I just think in terms of where she is, I look down the list. Is she beating Azumi? No. Julia? No. Probably Maika, Mina. Like, I look down the list. I don't see a lot of wins. Hanan is probably the one, unfortunately, but I just feel like they're going to be trying to build for the future with Hanan. And she needs a win somewhere. This is where to get it. And someone's got to be at the bottom. I don't know another person's going to be lower. So I put her as a 1. I think maybe one big win, one surprise win. and that's like the story. But she's also the type of wrestler that can get buzz while losing because of her promo ability. You know, the way Zack Sabre, I can't remember if it was the G1 or the yeah, it was the G1 where he kept losing and losing and just blaming the British Parliament. Um, she could talk, right? She's getting beat up, talking trash, and get attention that way. She doesn't necessarily need to win. So I think if you're gonna figure out who's losing, that's what you're doing. So I just put her as a 1 at the bottom of the table.
Tell me, Ryan.
That's right.
Is your hatred of Mariah May and her inability to do well, is this because you're feeling very American and you're against the British, the colonists? Are you just going anti-British because it's Independence Day?
No. Because I'm not against her. You got to put
sound pretty against her to me.
She
beats Azumi night 1. She beats Azumi night 1.
Who's she beating?
She beats Azumi night 1.
Trent,
I could see you beating Mina. As you know, like the battle between Club Venus. I could see her getting a surprise. Hanana's
she beats Momo Watanabe. I think Momo's below her at this point.
Oh no!
That could be spicy. I'm glad I'm not the one that said that, because I'm the lowest on the.
I'm talking about in the Stardom totem pole right now. Who has had a better year? It is Mariah May, unquestionably.
But that's not what we're arguing. I mean,
it is though. Who is Rossi more likely to push in this tournament to get a win? You asked me for who. I gave you who.
You said over Momo. Well,
I know those are fighting words. I get it.
That's wild.
Momo can lose to anyone, and she can beat anyone.
That is very true.
That's the thing with Momo now. She can beat everyone, and she can lose to everyone. There's no, she was the Mina loss a lot of the time before Mina, became superstar and what she is now. Do I want to put something on it? Yeah, I will absolutely put something on it, Ryan. I didn't miss that. What are we putting on it?
I don't know, something non.
Yeah, nothing ridiculous, please.
Yeah. You gotta remember teacher salary here.
Yeah. Well, you gotta remember 24-year-old.
Right. We'll discuss.
All right.
We'll talk about what
for the Red Sox or something.
Are we betting on Mariah versus Momo? Was that the bet or?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I picked Mariah to win. He's picking Momo. Pretty easy. Pretty simple.
Yeah, well, stay tuned to the Ocean Cyclone Show. We'll work out what's on the line here, because that's a spicy one. I'm liking that. Okay, our first bet of the tournament. It may not be the last. We did mention shoot fighter extraordinaire Mina Shirakawa, so let's jump to her as the next contestant. Scott, do you want to start us off with her?
Mina Shirakawa, I couldn't be more excited for someone's tournament this year. Never thought I was going to say that with Mina Shirakawa, but what a transformation! Because I think we all got accustomed to with Mina heading into or leaving last year's tournament, right? She's going to show up in the 5-Star Grand Prix, throw the caps into the wager. It's a great call. In the 5-Star Grand Prix, that's when she goes all out. She shows all the improvements she's made, right? That's her thing. And then after, she just, takes a tumble, isn't as hard of a worker anymore. She, or she just isn't the same wrestler. It's just been the way. Well, boy, oh boy, is that not the same anymore. She, by every account, has probably been Stardom's MVP this year. She's won 2 titles. She's had great main event matches. She's had the moment of the first half. Mariah's moment came in the second half, so, by default. Of course, I'm kidding. But she had the moment of the first half. She did everything right in the first half while having great matches. And now she's entering a 5-Star Grand Prix where she's not only been pushed up the card in every respect, but she's kind of trying to get redemption. She won that Wonder Belt and she lost it very quickly. Tam Nakano's still going to be the champion at the end of this tournament. Who beat her for that Wonder title? Tam Nakano. So it's an interesting tournament for Mina Shirakawa this year. If you told me that she was going to have the best tournament in ring-wise, I wouldn't even be shocked this year. That's how great she's been. So I'm very excited for what she's going to be. I'm currently between a 3 and a 4 with Mina because I do think that it wouldn't be insane. Come that final night, she's in contention. She's facing Sayori Inu. That is a big match, a big time match for her. If there were anyone to be kind of a surprise-ish going to that night as a contender, I think it'd be Mina. So I'm going to give her a 4. I've convinced myself I think Mina has earned this spot. No matter what. If you say she's a 3 or a 4, she's earned it either way.
Okay.
That respect, she didn't have that last year. She's earned that respect.
Before we jump to Ryan to answer his thoughts on this, I do just want to address this one. Connor is a bit of a newbie to the Stardom scene. So, yeah, just to quickly explain it, the world is the world, Goddess is the tag. The Wonder of Stardom Championship is kind of an interesting one. It sits kind of in between being an intercontinental title and being a 1B title. Generally, it's below the red belt, but it's not by as much as the intercontinental title would be to most world titles. The main rule is the red belt is for technique, the white belt is a belt of passion. So the matches tend to feel a little bit differently surrounding that. High speed title is kind of like your cruiserweight, your X Division title. It's fast wrestlers, generally 10-minute matches. And yeah, don't blink because you'll miss all the action. The other titles, we'll worry about that later, but they're kind of the main ones to worry about. There's one more championship in this one that of significance, which is the IWGP Women's Championship, which Maya has in the red block. What that belt signifies right now, who really knows, because it's not getting bloody defended.
I guess Trent's got this one. Me and Ryan aren't needed for the answer. So
Ryan
nailed it. Yeah, he did. No, I wasn't. The most important thing is August 27th. Is when Mariah May versus Momo Watanabe happens.
Okay,
so
good. We've got another Ocean Cyclone Show episode to get to where we can settle the stakes for sure.
Okay, excellent. Mina is such a hard thing for me because is her moment over? Right? She won the title. The story arc hit this natural high. Is that it? And then she's kind of go back down to the mid card, or are they going to lean on her? Because they can. She's proven herself. I think she is going to slot down slightly lower. Last year she was 11th place. I think she'll finish a lot better than that. But I don't think she's a serious contender.
That many people.
Well, obviously, yeah. If she's 11th, that's pretty impressive.
Kari comes in and enters the blue block for the fun of it.
Jungle comes in and ruins everything. But her last 10 matches, she's 6-3-1. But having the tag title makes you less likely to me to be a serious contender.
She just pins Shuri.
Yeah.
Well, how much more does she got? She's gonna continue that? I don't know.
A good run.
I put a 3 in the middle.
That's
she's
fair. That's fair.
Gonna get some wins, but not gonna ultimately be not where Micah is, where she's determining who wins and loses in that same way. I don't feel that.
If she was facing anyone else on that final night besides Sayori Inu, I think I'd have a different conversation. But I think Sayori Inu is such an interesting part of this tournament, especially with the rivalry there. If they were more likely to have that match mean something on the final night, as opposed to say Mariah and Micah in terms of both competitors, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, Mina is a tough one. I could see her kind of what Foos is saying, finishing around the middle. I could see her being sort of in that final night, still being in contention because she did win the white belt. She is a faction leader. She's one of their best merch sellers. So she's ticking all the boxes that Stardom kind of look for in people that they're going to push. And for my money, she's had the single best singles match in Stardom in this year. And probably she's had 2 of the top 5, maybe even 3, if you really wanted to get technical about it. With that in mind, I think I could see her getting to 4. I think she could win a lot of kind of matches that maybe surprise people. I don't think she's going to advance all the way. But if you told me her and Sayori kind of fighting for contention on that final night, I would totally believe that. Yeah, I'm going to give her a 4-star rating. I'm going to call her a contender, but probably on the lower scale of that 4, if I had to say for sure. 94th minute's absolutely right. We're getting banger matches here.
Oh, 94th minute. What's up?
Yeah. Before we get on to the next person, Connor wants to know more. Buy a subscription, please do. Just keep in mind, Stardom operate on the Japanese streaming service format where you sign up anytime in the month and it gets re-upped at the start of the month. So we're still in the first week. Yeah, do it now or do it at the start of August. Yeah. Don't wait for the start of the tournament because then you only get like a week of actual. Yeah.
But I do think it's a subscription service that's worth it. A lot of them are like, I don't know. But the quality of matches, the amount of shows they put on, it's definitely worth the money. And I'm a cheapskate, so like coming from me,
you'll see like the conversations about the past couple months. Obviously, it's been tough getting things up. The 5-star they really put a focus on. Like they're gonna upload those matches before house show matches.
Yeah.
That it's an important thing for them to do. And if they're in Tokyo, it'll be day of.
Yeah. We might lose some of the post-match subtitles, which will be it'll be a worthy sacrifice to get these up quick enough that we can keep up with them somewhat. Because obviously you've got the pay-per-view show, which you've got the 4 or 5 day buffer before that goes up on World, but we sort of need to focus in on stuff. And yes, Connor, drop the WWE Network for the 5-star Grand Prix. I think we can all absolutely agree with that here. And what we can also agree with on here, this is a podcast that supports our ash-covered Cinderella, our new wonder of Stardom champion as of Sunday, Mirai, making her second appearance in the 5-star Grand Prix. 15 points last year. She was within contention to go all the way, and now she holds a championship. Scott, I know you've been on the Mirai bandwagon pretty much from the start of her appearances in Stardom.
You've literally from when she showed up.
Yeah.
Which not a lot of people were, because a lot of people were like, what happened to Mirai Mayumi? Can you bring that back real quick?
I just wanted to give 94 minute the hailing.
Yeah, hell, Mirai, of course. You see that pose she's doing right there?
Which one? The
winning one?
No, the winning one. That was literally me when she won.
Were you holding a trophy as well?
Yeah, I picked up my Xbox. That was the trophy. And I was just like, yes, it happened. Down goes the queen. There's a lot of very happy moments. Not only was I happy that Tam lost, I was even happier that Mirai won. This is a very exciting time for Mirai because she's still got a lot of doubters. And to me, the 5-star Grand Prix last year for her shut up a lot of doubters. Now she's a champion. She's going to be a little bit hungrier as the champion to prove her worth. She's going to be having matches that have real stakes each time because, no, she's not going to win this tournament. I can tell you that right now. She's already the champion. Had she lost, she'd have a better shot, truthfully, at winning this tournament. That's the funny thing about champions in tournaments. Hold on. I forgot that's back there. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't actually pick up the Xbox. It was a joke. But I appreciate.
Well, how can we trust anything you say if he's going to blatantly lie like that?
I know. I did do that pose though. That was the exact pose that I did, which makes it 10 times funnier. Anyways, every match is going to mean something because every person in this block can be a contender. I don't know if that's ever happened before, where every person in a block can be a legitimate contender for the Wonder of Stardom title. But I look at this lineup. I know Mirai's history. Everyone can be a contender. You even look at Hanan, someone who those two have a connection. We've seen it. We've seen them talk about it. If they were ever to give Hanan a big title match, it would be against Mirai this early. I don't think it necessarily happens, but it's a possibility. She's a 3 because champions don't win for me, so I don't consider her a contender for that final night. She'll be high in points, don't get me wrong. She's probably not going to have the ridiculous second place finish that she had last year. Maybe she's third. Even Shuri was third last year as world champion. So I think that's fine, but still, I'm really looking forward to this tournament. It's a big tournament for her, even if she's not winning anything.
94th minute brings up a great point. There will be people who beat her to set up title match opportunities.
Yes.
I think Maya Sakurai is basically positioning herself to get a title shot during the 5-Star Grand Prix
Stardom
at one of
makes
those
sense.
pay-per-view shows. But is there anyone in particular you think will, is there someone you're looking at, you're going to beat Mariah because that's a title match that needs to happen?
Are you asking me first?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Azumi, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the ideal first big title match for Azumi. I think her getting the win over the champion makes too much sense because that's why she's in this tournament to begin with. We've seen her beat Shuri many times. Shuri's not in this block. So who's the champion she's going to beat this time? Mirai, big shiny target for her. The other one's Mina Shirakawa because I think Mirai versus Mina Shirakawa is a match you got to run because we didn't get it right. 94th minute, I want you to just delete the comment. I want that gone. I don't even want to think about it. Don't even want to think about that.
Strike it from the record.
Up for the duration you talking.
That is nasty behavior. Do not, no, bad. The internet would explode. I'm about to explode right now thinking about it. Don't like it. But I think Mina and Azumi are the top two choices.
What about you, Ron?
What about Anu?
Yeah,
is it too soon for her?
That'd be my third choice. So I'm with you.
I definitely don't think it's too soon for Sayori because, it's not like she's a brand new wrestler. She's proven herself on the Indies. She's got that established name. Really, the only reason you might not put her there is if you don't want her losing. But now that she's entering the 5-Star Grand Prix, she's going to lose some matches. That's not the same concern that it was. And what are your thoughts on Mariah entering the tournament?
I think she's going to do super well. They're just making her win everything.
Mm-hmm.
She's won 8 out of the last 10 matches, won the Cinderella twice, just won a title.
What a beast.
But obviously I think that prevents her from again winning this. That's too much. She's not going to, that's like to the moon booking. But they obviously put her in this position of a dominant, high on the food chain person. And she's the type of wrestler that I could see beating any of the wrestlers in the block. Yeah. It wouldn't be an impossible thing or a crazy thing if she beats Utami or Julia. Anything's on the table, and I think she might be the person I'm most excited to see, just because she's tearing it up, and her style fits a tournament like this when you just hit it really hard. Someone mentioned if it's like the G1, it absolutely is like the G1. And she's a G1 type wrestler, so
shocked.
Let's do
Ryan picked the TJPW wrestler as his most.
That is not why. I put her as a 4, by the way. I don't know if I said that. 4, right below the.
Worth noting, the Sayori Anu match is at a Cork and Hall show, so they will give that a big focus.
It's a match of importance.
Yes.
It's kind of like the reverse of Mina in that between the 3 and the 4 spot. I'm going 3 just because kind of what Scott said. The champion takes more losses than maybe would be expected to set up title matches in the future. But I can also see her being a spoiler in if Utami's going to advance the block, Mariah getting the win over her. And because everyone loses at least once. And Mariah's someone who's good enough to beat anyone.
I think 13 points sounds about right for her.
Yep.
6 wins, 1 tie, 3 losses.
That makes sense. Yeah, I could definitely see that being there, and that puts her solidly mid to upper mid, probably by the time the block comes to a close.
Yeah.
And I agree. Potential host fight of the year. A lot of Mariah matches are going to fit that category, including.
That's a redeeming comment too. This is the same person that said the Mai Sakurai thing. So.
Well, he's not saying that he wants it.
No. But he put it in the universe. He put it out.
We have him on watch. We have him on watch.
You got to just ban him if he says anything else.
Careful.
Well, here's the contentious one because we've already talked about her potentially losing matches.
Yeah.
Of some measure of importance. It's going to be blonde versus blonde in that match, Mariah versus Momo Watanabe.
That's so weird. I always forget.
I did not think of it that way.
To be fair, if you want to get a blonde render of Momo Watanabe, you're not getting it off the official website. That's still her, first initial change in debut. I had to literally take one of the graphics they do and edit around her to get this photo because
Yeah, I can
Stardom.
tell. I'm just kidding. I can't tell.
Just removing that from the page.
You set me up perfectly for it.
Okay.
Yeah, Momo Watanabe, I hate to say it because, like, in ring, she is one of the best wrestlers Stardom have. I think she's going to have a weak tournament. I think she's going to lose a lot of matches that maybe, kind of the borderline matches. I can see her losing to Azumi, for example. The Mariah May one, I think ultimately depends on do Oedo Tai get a tag title match. If they do, then Momo beats Mariah. If not, I think Mariah might beat her. She'll get a win. Like, I could see her maybe beating Utami because of that rivalry there. But I think she's a 3.
He's not wrong.
She's a pretender in my books.
Yeah.
So a 2? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no, I'm going to give her a 3.
3.
I'm going to give her a pretender ranking. No, that doesn't ban you 94th minute because I've been calling Kogo superior Momo since she joined. So you're safe in my books. Ryan,
wait, time out. You remember that match between Momo and Jungle? Where Jungle lost?
So,
mic drop.
Unbelievable.
What were you saying, Ron?
That when I sat down and looked at this and thought of this was the saddest reflection of all, because in my heart Momo is number 1, but she's sure as hell not number 1 in Rossi's heart. She's below all these people, booking wise. Like, I'd like her to be the top person, and I kind of waited for that for a long time. I've kind of given up. I think she's at the moment passed by 5, 6, 7, 8 wrestlers who were higher than her. She's young; she can turn it around, but I don't think they see her as that top tier contender. I put 2. I think she's gonna, like you said, win 1, maybe 2 matches. And I'm choking up saying that. I don't want to say that, but that's real.
I've never heard someone so depressed.
I know.
Talking about a wrestler. Jesus.
You want someone to do something, and it's not going to happen.
Hey! I'm not saying you're crazy. Just sad.
Little therapy session here. Let it out.
Okay, I'm done.
Sorry to hear that. Really am. I mean, I'm a big time fellow Momo fan myself, but here's what I like us all to remember, okay? Before we just take Momo out at the knees here, Ryan, let's remember what she did last year. A year where she was pretty much in the same spot as she is now. Yeah, she was a trios champion. Congratulations. Big whoop. What she did last year was she beat Starlight Kid. She beat Natsupoi. She beat Julia, Mayu Iwatani, and Hazuki. Back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, it was the end of the tournament. Everyone was beating Hazuki.
That's true. Okay, but she still beat Mayu and Julia. And do you know who won last year's tournament, Trent?
Who won last year's tournament?
Julia. Anyways, she's going to be lower on the block. I think that goes without saying. You just look at the field. It's tough, right? Who's she going to be ahead of in a block that includes the heaviest hitters, like the main eventers right now, right? So Hanan could be a Hanan win. Could be Hanan's big shock win of the tournament, right? Yeah. Over a higher standard person. Mariah May.
The pain in Ryan's admission there.
I think Momo does beat Mariah May because you look at that match and you think it could go either way. I think she beats Mariah May. Mina Shirakawa, that's always a fun one. They just have such great chemistry. So I don't know. That could be 50-50 too. If Mina's going to take any big losses or crucial losses, Momo screams to me as someone there. Her and Azumi, I mean, come on, folks. That's a gigantic match. I think that's a live one. Is that the last night?
I do remember it was.
It is the last night. It is the last night. That's a big one. Like, that is a meaningful match. Could happen there. That could also just be a story match. Mirai. I don't think she beats Mirai, but she's obviously someone that could, right? This is the good thing about Momo. She's someone that could beat anyone, but she could lose to anyone. I said that earlier. I'm saying it again. And that's the beauty of her. She's a 3 because I still think she has a respectable showing. Even if she's in the bottom half, they can still get her to 8 points. She can still get 4 wins. You know, it's very easy to do. Micah, Utami, Julia, they're not out of the question for Momo to beat. I think she beats one of them.
Yeah.
She's going to beat one of those top 3 that are in this tournament. It's just a matter of who. She can beat 2 of them. I just said it. She did it last year, right? She's going to be bottom. It's upsetting. But I think the more important part for Momo this tournament is to show what she's got. This has been a bad year for her. I'm not even going to sit here and say, yes, thank you. See, I think she did good as a trio star last year and a tag team star. She did great work in all those matches when they were champions. Her single stuff hasn't lived up to Momo Watanabe of Queen's Quest.
Sure.
This is a big tournament for her. She has some big time matches with Utami and Azumi that you know she has to care about. Like, they have built those matches up so important. So it's going to be a big prove it spot for her. I want Momo to come out swinging. That is both a pun and not. I think she can have a good tournament. I really do, because she has the people in there that she works well with. You look at Mina, Azumi, Julia, Utami, and Micah. And did I say Azumi?
Yes.
Those are 5 that I think she instantly, automatically works her best with. So I think she does have a better tournament than she did last year in terms of just the in-ring stuff. At least that's my hope.
Pretty much put Mayu in the blue block, and that's all of her best opponents.
Yeah, that's exactly true. That's exactly it. And the fun part is Utami and Azumi are both going to be big shows. I think one of them's a cork. They're actually both live shows. It's at the 5-star special and the final. So they know those are big matches. She'll know those are big matches. So that's kind of how I feel about Momo.
Yeah. Before we jump to the next person, flash quiz. Connor's asked, aside from Donna Del Mondo, what's the best faction in Stardom? Ryan.
Oh boy. Not Stars.
Whoa! Whoa!
Queen's Quest has the ace on top. I do enjoy them. I think I heard Scott though. You think Stars is the best?
Stars, all their wrestlers are good. You're pumping up a faction that has Miyu Amasaki, Hina, and Lady C.
But it's not necessarily about
who's in
just who's in it, but the vibes of it, like the cohesiveness of it. Like Mayu is the best wrestler doesn't mean she makes the best faction.
Before 2 weeks ago, that faction was about to fall apart.
Trent, is Stars the best faction?
I'm not going to say they're the best faction, but I wouldn't.
That's what I said, and he's giving me a hard time. They're not.
To be fair, you're like, well, it's not Stars.
It's
it's not Stars.
It's the disrespect towards Stars that
I'm more entertained faction-wise by Club Venus, just because of what they do together as like a cohesive unit, than Stars as a unit. I don't like Mina better than Mayu.
Quicker than Hulkamania. I just want to let you know that. The disrespect is unbelievable.
He has not yet said whether he thinks Stars is the best. Because they're not, and he's not going to say that.
Stars is my favorite, but that doesn't mean it's the best. Stars is my favorite because I love Mayu, I love Hazuki, I love Hanan. Like that's a hell of a core there. It's not Queen's Quest because, like I said, they were just about to break 2 weeks ago, and their leader just left them in the dust for GCW. Come on now, can't just be giving them respect. Did he already say DDM?
He said aside from DDM.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that part, so I was like, wait a minute. Time out. Are we not saying DDM? Because DDM for a long time, but I don't think they are either.
It is the weakest DDM's been.
It is. I mean, this is the strongest Cosmic Angels has been if you want to just look at like in-ring wise, right? God's Eye adding Saki Kashima. I can't pick them yet because I haven't seen that, but I'm gonna be pretty confident that's gonna make them very entertaining. Oedo Tai I can't pick either because they have faltered a little bit lately. Screw you, Ryan. I'm picking stars.
Oh, we outvoted you though. I think so.
Trent didn't vote.
Yeah, I haven't
He said
voted yet.
not stars. He also said not stars.
I'm going to say God's Eye, just because I think Saki Kashima is what's going
All right,
to
we all
unlock
picked something
everything.
different. So
Yeah.
shut up, Ryan.
Just not
This
a
is the
clear
best.
winner.
This is the best Stars has been since Tam and Arisa Hashimi.
Well, if it matters, I would agree with Trent before you. So
normally it's me and Scott who's going.
it was disrespect.
He got
instantly.
offended. He got
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's nice that this is live. We can see the shock in Scott's face. But let's try and get this train back on track.
We're gonna finish the Blue Stars. Let's go. We've been an hour and 15 minutes in.
Our next contender making her debut in the 5-Star Grand Prix is Saori Inu. I think this is going to be a very interesting tournament for her. Probably in the blue block, maybe the most mysterious in terms of what they're going to do with her, how many points she's going to score. I think she's going to be a 4. She's going to be a contender. I think she's going to be in it to win it in that final night, and either loses on the final night or wins, but needs the results to fall her way, and it doesn't fall her way. This is kind of the classic, like the outsider being brought in with really good form, be it Risa Sera last year, Suzuki last year, Takumi Iroha the year before. Like they always have this one person who does really well, maybe loses via count out, gets a bunch of draws, which kind of protects them. And I think that's going to be Saori's position in this tournament. Ryan, what do you think?
I'm with you in that it's like a mystery. Like, we don't know how they feel about her. So I went to the last 10 singles matches. She's had one. She's had one singles match, not counting her run in like 2016. So like it's a brand new Anu.
This is in Stars specifically.
Yeah. So post Ice Ribbon, she's a bigger deal now. I think they will treat her like a bigger deal. But I can't put her as a 4 just because I already have 3 4s and a 5. You can't have that many contenders. Someone's got to drop. So I just put her as a 3. She'll get some wins. She'll impress. I'm excited to see what she'll do, but lower than Micah, lower than Mariah and Julia. So,
and the answer to this question is too many.
One is technically too many, to be fair. CTE.
So he'll be right regardless.
Yeah. Julia doesn't care for concussion protocols. What are your thoughts, Scott?
I love Saori Inu. I think she is fantastic. The moment she walked into Stardom, she felt like a major deal. You get introduced by Kairi, it's a big deal, right? And obviously people know who Saori Inu is from previous times, whether it be Stardom or Ice Ribbon or the many places that she's worked. But she is someone who they want to matter. She has almost effectively become the number 2 in Cosmic Angels. No offense, Natsupoi. But it's just kind of the reality. She doesn't feel like she doesn't feel like backup for Tam. She feels like her own person. And I do think that matters. I think that win over Natsupoi matters. I think a match with Tam Nakano is very possible with that title on the line. She is someone that they clearly and understandably and should believe in as a real competitor in this tournament. She is like, if you were to tell me she was like in the middle of Risa Sera and Suzu this year in terms of like legitimacy, I think that would be the best place to place her. Yeah, she's not going to win this tournament first year, even though with the Tam story, if they really wanted to go all in on that and they signed Saori Inu full time, wouldn't be shocking. But I don't think they'll be signing her full time. So I think in the end, she'll be more closer to pretender than contender. But I'm just going to give her a 4 to spite Ryan saying there's too many contenders at this point. You know what? He angered me with the Stars thing.
Oh, no.
Now I'm against you. I'm not going to attack Trent the rest of the show. That was definitely a lie. There's no way that happened.
Old habits die hard.
But I'm gonna try
to
not
mention
to.
Jungle, and it's instantly changed.
And it's worth noting she's wrestling Mina Shirakawa on the last night, and I do think that match will have a lot of meaning. So I think contender is just you're within a point on the final night to me.
Yeah, kind of that final night if you have a chance to win.
Right.
Yeah. I think
And
that
to me,
was kind
possible.
of what I was envisioning.
Yeah.
Now, I have noticed none of us have given a 5 yet for anyone in the blue block.
Oh, let me go
There's
first.
one more person.
Let me go first.
Go, Scott.
Ooh, look at
GCW Zone. Utami Hayashishida. Yeah. GCW Zone fighting Billy Starks this weekend. What a world that we live in. She's going on a trip, right? She's going on a trip to better herself as a leader, better herself as a competitor, because she hasn't had any singles accomplishments in a long time, right? She's watched her stablemates Azumi and Saya Kamatani have record reigns with their respective titles, while she's done a whole lot of nothing.
Trained up Miyu Amasaki and got abused for it.
Yeah, this is true. She's coming off a steel cage win. That is one of the finest stories ever told in Stardom. One of the best matches in the history of Stardom. That is what Utami's coming off of. And this trip over to America as a get better, get me right situation, they're going all in on it. Clearly, they've booked her matches for this. That's a 5. She is winning this whole damn thing. Also, by the way, when I say 5s, I'm giving 5s to also the people I think are going to be finalists.
Yeah,
not
that's
just
what
the
it is.
winners.
It's finalists. 5 is
Okay,
finalists.
well,
Yeah.
Listen, you got me a little confused earlier, so I just want to. So 5 to me is not only finalist. I'll even say it here. She's the winner. Of
6 then.
Yeah,
Oh,
6.
yeah.
Well, I'm breaking the scale. Call me Dave Meltzer. Yeah. I'm breaking the scale. I just watched Okada and Omega in the Tokyo Dome. I'm breaking the scale. Yeah, she's a 6, I guess. But I'm really excited for Tommy's tournament. She has the Julia match on the final night. Screams 15-minute draw. And do you know what happens for the winner on the final night every year? They go to a draw, at least the past couple of years. She's going to become the first ever 2-time 5-star Grand Prix winner. Actually should at the age of 24 years old.
The ages here, like, it is ridiculous. Like, we're talking about Momo Watanabe. It's so easy to forget she's still like 23.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she
terrifying,
is a veteran.
actually.
Yeah, she's a bona fide veteran, and she's 23. And like, everyone writes her off as like there is no hope for her. But yeah, she's 23. She has time to get there.
You sound like Ryan as a teacher.
Look, I'm inspired by my mentors. So, Ryan.
Wow. This is where Scott and I are exactly on the same page. I put her as a 5.
Finally.
I think she's going to win the whole thing. Just the whole timing. Not only part of that cage match, she's the central character in that cage match. And I do feel like this is someone they'll go to again as the 2-time winner. It's just you have to eventually, I think.
Yeah.
Just as the tournament gets more, longer history, you'd like to go back to somebody. Yeah. You can, and you could rely on her to have a great matches all across the board. Have a great title reign if you want to do that. I feel the most confident of anybody on here, knowing where they are. Utami on top.
When she wins the World of Stardom title from Tam, as she should, that crime, her heathen, that is Tam Nakano, when she beats her, she can finally be recognized as the best wrestler in the world. The moment it was, I forget where I said, okay, she's probably the best women's wrestler in the world, guaranteed now. They go somewhere in the 5-star last year because she put it all together. And when I say that, people are like, what? She was world champion. She had a great reign. No. She wasn't complete back then.
Yeah.
Now she's complete. And I said that she could challenge for the Wonder and win that now because she's added that side of her game while also just making everything better. And we were watching an all-time wrestler.
Absolutely.
In action with Utami. That next title reign, I think could be, can be, will be the best the title's ever seen if they give her enough time.
I remember like a couple of months back when we were first talking about the 5-star Grand Prix. We, at the very least, Scott and I were kind of saying, yeah, this 5-star Grand Prix is wide open, but it feels like they're setting up Utami. With the whole drama with Sire, the Queen's Quest issues, it felt like they
They're
were
so
going
smart.
to build to Utami getting there. I was convinced of that completely when she was the cage match kind of confirmed that. So okay, this is the story they're telling, even though it's gone a different direction. I thought, yeah, she's going to be champion. Then she goes off and she's got the story coming in, like continuing the story with the I'm going away for a bit, I'm going to reset, I'm going to focus, going to GCW.
She's pulling the
she was
Cody
gonna-
Rhodes.
Yeah, I thought she was going to spend a fortnight on a beach or something. I
Yeah,
thought that
she-
was going to be her
No,
recharge, but no,
GCW.
she's breaking the rules. Stardom wrestlers don't go off and wrestle in American independence. That's not what they do. But Itami's doing that. So everything surrounding her right now, Stardom do this thing where 5-star Grand Prix, the final, the winner is kind of obvious. For the past few years, I think Utami in 2020 was maybe the least predictable since maybe Tony Storm in 2017. I'm not sure. This year, it definitely feels like it's Utami's to win by a long shot. I thought the story to get there was going to be different, but she is the 5-star in this situation. We all have her winning, we all have her making the finals, but she needs to find someone to face in the finals, which puts us to the red block. And starting off in the red block is Scott's favorite wrestler, Amy Sarai,
I'll go
making her
first.
second
I'll go
appearance.
first.
Yeah, you go first.
One. Done. Goodbye.
Okay, Scott, we are mind melding again. We usually agree on a lot of things until I upset you today. One, unless Lady C replaces somebody in the tournament, who's she beating? Right, like she's the bottom here.
What is this Lady C slander on this episode?
No, it's
Lady
Both
C's
of you
deserved.
have
lower
gone
on
out.
the
It's
totem pole.
deserved. No, it's deserved. No, it's deserved. If you're asking me one wrestler Ami Sarai is better than on this roster, it's Lady C.
There you go. So that's who she could beat. That's not on the schedule. That's not on the menu. So she's gonna lose. All of them maybe.
Whoa!
Oh,
All right, I wouldn't go that far.
Who's she beating?
She'll get a surprise win. She beat
Oh,
Saya last year. as champion.
Tora.
No, she
not,
didn't.
Not
She went-
Tora.
She went to an awful
she beat
draw.
a few
I take that
people of
back.
note last year.
Okay.
And I
She
agree.
probably beats
she's-
Natsupoi.
Yeah, I can definitely see Natsupoi victory in Amy's future. I agree. She's probably going to be the lowest on the block. It's her second year in Stardom. She's fresh off the Future Championship. She doesn't have quite the same mystery surrounding her this year as she did last year entering the tournament. So I think she's probably a 1-star here. She's cashing them checks. But it is clear that Rossi and Stardom do see something in her. So I think she'll get 1 or 2 victories again, which surprises whether we want it to or not. 94th minutes predicting beating Shuri. She did beat Mariah last year,
That wouldn't
and
be
that could
shocking.
be a way to knock Shuri out of the tournament on the final night, because I assume we have Shuri in that probably 4 category somewhere, being Shuri. I'm not expecting huge things from her, but to me, this is kind of the Hanan situation. This is not about her winning matches. This is about her proving herself.
Yes.
You know, she needs to have a good tournament here, especially because the tag title run that she and Mariah had was disappointing. It wasn't great. We already saw her; she was a lot better with Shuri last week in their tag title match.
I thought that was her best appearance of the year.
Yeah. So this is her chance to kind of prove, like, okay, I belong here, because we've listed a bunch of people who could have been in this tournament. Tekla, Mai Sakurai could have been in there, Koguma, Saki Kashima. There's people that you could have put in there, and they put Amy Sarai in. So it's a chance for her to say she deserves to be here. Someone who does deserve to be here is Hazuki, who I think all of us here can say we're a big fan of what she does. She's a 3-star for me. I don't think she's necessarily going to be in the running on the final night just because of how stacked these blocks are. But she's someone who, like we kind of mentioned with Momo, can beat anyone in this tournament. You can put her, she can knock out Maya, she can knock out Shuri, she can knock out Tam. I kind of hope she knocks out Tam because I want to see that title match. I'm very excited to see what Hazuki does. I think she's a 3-star prospect in this tournament, but as long as she doesn't choke this year and drop every single match
Mm.
after having such a hot start, it's going to be very exciting to see what happens. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
I'm very much with you. I think she's going to be a 3 level here, and this is where my my stat of the last 10 matches like really plays that out. 3, 6, and 1. She's not winning as much as some of these other wrestlers right now. We may want her to. I don't know. 3 wins, maybe. That's probably what I'm thinking, which is not going to be obviously nearly enough. So a little disappointed. This is in like Momo as a personal fan. Like I want you to do really well, but I just look up and down. I'm like, nope, not better, not higher than these other folks.
When I see Hazuki pop up, all I think is pain. All I think is pain because this is someone who should have already been Wonder of Stardom champion in her her second run technically. Now we're on her third. She is someone who, pound for pound, most consistent performer in this company. She had such a fun run last year, right? Going 7-0 to start off and then dropping the last 6. Really having the win that final night, but Ueno Tai cheating her out of it. Hazuki's interesting because if Stardom wanted to play to their what once was an old time scenario in the finals of put someone in there who's probably not going to win but does still get a respect, she would be in the Momo Watanabe range, the Hameka range from 2020, right? The Konami range from 2019. She feels like she's in that range. But last year we put Tam Nakano in the damn thing. So I think we're starting to shake it up a little bit and get a little higher on the card. That being said, Hazuki's still going to have a respectable tournament. The beauty of Hazuki is she's much like Momo. She can beat everyone. She can lose to everyone. She has Natsuko Tora on the last night. I think that's going to be more about their personal grudge against one another in history rather than a match that has much stakes at hand. And while it hurts me to say, yeah, she's probably a 3. I'm not going to go lower just because I think she's still someone who, if she was there on the last night, no one would be shocked, but she's not winning the block.
Yeah, just one before we move on. Next person. This is a common sentiment I do see whether Hazuki should be in stars behind Mayu. I personally like Hazuki in stars because it's a kind of a twofold thing. It gives stars a bit of a much needed edge because they are very happy go lucky. That kind of gives them their enforcer, and I think the stars' nature lightens Hazuki up. And I'm not sure whether it necessarily is best for her character. But I think behind the scenes, being with Mayu, being with Koguma, being with Ida even, I think that's important for her happiness and comfort in Stardom. Any quick thoughts on this one, guys?
I'm not going to comment on anything stars related, as we know what happened last time.
It's good. It's good call, bud. Hazuki Goon will never be, but if there was ever a time for Hazuki to leave, it would be more to do that. Or, the only other scenario where I'd see her leave, this is an interesting curveball for everyone, is if Micah left DDM, like some people think she will, and her, Suzu, May Sarah, they go form their own thing, DDM has this wide open spot. Hazuki could fit into DDM very well.
Yeah.
And she could be their number 2, if that were to ever happen, because I think you could push Hanan up eventually. Somewhere down the road she will be the number 2 behind Mayu, and maybe eventually the number 1. Yeah, that's what I thought, Ryan. But for now, yeah, I like her in stars. I'm with how Trent explained it. I think it does help her out of the ring more than anything, and it's probably why she always feels fresh. Truthfully, she's enjoying her time there, so I wouldn't take her away from that right now.
It would be wild after the drama when Hazuki left the second time, as Julia was coming in, that match that they had caused a lot of contention, to then see them in the same faction together.
Be a pretty great duo, though.
Yeah, they would feed off each other wonderfully.
Yeah.
I think we need to take a moment and just bask in the glory of the next contender. nearly went all the way in our greatest of all time rankings that we did a few months back.
Don't even get me started.
The IWGP Women's Champion, the most experienced tournament wrestler in this block, a former winner, Mayu Iwatani. What are we expecting from the Icon, guys? I know Scott will have a lot to say because it's Mayu and number one favorite. Ryan, what are you thinking?
I think it's similar to what happened last year. She was third. In that mix of like that, we're calling it 4 on our scale here.
Yep, contender.
Someone who makes or breaks someone's run. Like you got to get through the Mayu to win, or you can't put her lower than that. I mean, maybe in 15 years or something, like which is like hobbling in. But she's too big of a star to do anything lower than that, I think. I don't know what the IWGP title is and like where it stands.
Neither does Mayu.
So does that help her or hurt her? I don't know. But just her, like, I can't see her losing a ton.
Yeah.
So third place behind the person I think is winning. I'll reveal that soon. And then someone who's won it before.
Ooh.
That's what I'll say.
What are you thinking, Scott?
The greatest wrestler of all time, the greatest IWGP Women's Champion of all time, the greatest Stardom wrestler of all time, the icon Mayu Iwatani. She can't be lower than 4. Anyone puts her lower than 4, I'm flying to Australia or Texas to beat the hell out of one of you two. Don't disrespect Mayu Iwatani. That's all I'm saying. She's always there. No matter what, she's always there points wise. Maybe she's not in contention the last night, but she'll win, and then she'll be there anyways. That's how it goes for Mayu Iwatani. And Horacio Gawa, you beautiful, beautiful, beautiful hatted man. You gave me my match on the final night once again. Mayu Iwatani, Starlight Kid, 3rd year in a row. Just like I asked for. That was my favorite match of the tournament last year. I don't care. I'll fight with everyone about that until the final days. And it's a big 3.
His face.
I'll ignore that. Mayu, you know what's funny? If Mayu wasn't IWGP Women's Champion right now, her versus Utami would be such a brilliant final. One person's going to be a 2-timer. Like that would be such a smart final. But she is IWGP Women's Champion. Not that title means anything. But she has a pretty good history. Kyrie, Mercedes Moné, and Mayu. So there's prestige there in that respect. But otherwise, it's a great prop. But Mayu's 4 because she's always there. Is she going to be in contention and win the block? No. But she's always there. She's always in that top 3 ranking. And for me, I explained it earlier, that's a contender to me. I think going to the final night, she should be in contention because it just makes that Starlight Kid match different from last year. But we'll have to wait and see.
There is a universe where Mayu Iwatani wins this tournament. And
I would like to go to that universe.
Yeah. The universe is because then it would be at Dream Queendom, Tam Nakano versus Mayu Iwatani. If they want this Tam Nakano reign to go beyond 2023, which is possible. We don't know what the plan is.
Sounds terrible. Do not do that.
If they wanted Tam to be champion going to 2024, the winner of the 5-Star Grand Prix would need to lose on that final night show. Mayu Iwatani is the one bridge that Tam still needs to cross. She's won the world. She's won the Wonder. She's won pretty much every title you want. She's won them both at the same time. But she still hasn't been Mayu Iwatani. And we know that's something that is on her bucket list. That's what she needs to do. Doing that at Dream Queendom against Mayu Iwatani, that would be a way to do it. Now, I don't think that happens, but it's just it's a universe I want to propose because I could visualize that being the plan because I do think whoever wins this tournament goes on to beat Tam Nakano at Dream Queendom. But if you don't want that to happen, Mayu's a good kind of person to put there, and it would make sense to give Mayu the rights to being the first ever 2-time 5-Star Grand Prix winner, just like she's the first ever 2-time Cinderella tournament.
Yeah.
But she's a 4-star for me because I don't see that happening. But it's just, I'd give her a 4.5. Maybe I just want to, rise her up a bit more because she is the GOAT. She's the icon. She's the reason I follow Joshi in Stardom. So,
Fusa,
I
I'm
just
going to
hope-
ignore your comment, by the way. Just going to act like you didn't say that.
fair. Well, we'll move forward then. We'll make sure there's no issues. Move on to the next person, Natsuko Tora, who of course is been out of the tournament for 2 years prior. Are we happy she was out of the tournament for 2 years?
No, I'm
prior?
happy she's in it. I'm happy she's
okay.
back in it.
It was just the timing of those fist bumps.
Yeah,
was
no,
a
it was
little-
tough. It was tough. It was tough look. Tough look.
So
I
she
got
missed
caught on
out.
camera.
Yeah, caught in 4K or at least 1080p. I think this streams at.
Yeah, I was gonna say, whoa, chill out. I don't know if you're paying 4K not money here.
No one wants to see 4K for me. Natsuko Tora is so tough to predict because she's not been great in these tournaments. I think her best performance was 2020, and she only scored 6 points and got herself disqualified in like every match.
What a beast.
Yeah. She's been out for 2 years, and I think her value has risen a lot more in that time. This stuff with Utami is really fascinating, really interesting. If they're in the same block, it'd be wonders. But they're not in the same block.
Mhm.
The only way they're going to face each other in this tournament is if they both advance to the final. I got Utami 5-star. I don't have Natsuko Tora 5-star. Of everyone's tournaments, Natsuko Tora's tournament might be the most important for any one person because she's getting a little older now. Like as far as the tournament goes, she's one of the older competitors. Hanan has years to improve. Mariah May still has time to sort of find herself if she's sticking around long term with Stardom. Natsuko Tora, a poor performance here, not in points, but in just in-ring stuff. It might kind of be the last chance for her in a lot of ways. She's leading her with her tie, but you could see her getting usurped. After that, who knows what the plan would be for her. She needs to do well here. I don't think she scores a ton of points, but I really, really hope she puts on a strong performance. Scott, what do you think?
I just read the comments, so that made me laugh about Tora being, she meant that about, not, it wasn't about Natsuko, which made me laugh. Natsuko, I'm very excited for her tournament because she's been kind of working in like that we're not used to since coming back. When I say not used to, I mean she's not getting disqualified all the time. And now it ties in a point where it feels like they're going more aggressive rather than cheating, right? They're going a little more serious rather than, like I said, cheating. And it gives the important idea that maybe Natsuko Tora is going to go out there and have some big showings. And that would be exciting. I do think no matter what, it's her last tournament. Unless we expand it back to, say, 26 again, just because I think there's a lot of young competitors coming up. That makes sense. Who the hell knows who they add within the next year, right? May Sarah isn't in this tournament. She will be next year.
Yeah.
Right? She's probably the biggest miss in terms of young talent on this roster who absolutely will be there next time around. So I think this is her last tournament either way. So I think she's going to show that in her performances. She's going to put it all out there. She knows, she has a leg that got completely repaired essentially. Like she knows where she is as a competitor, yet she's doing swantons off of cages and she's doing everything in her power to be entertaining. She's had some great tag team matches with Ruaka since coming back. So I'm excited to see what she does. She's a 2. She's not going to be even a pretender, but she's going to have some important matches against important people. She's going to pull off an upset, I'm sure, against whether that be Hazuki on the final night, maybe even like a Shuri, like that could be one, or Mayu. That's always a possibility. Mayu can lose. That's the beauty of Mayu. While she's still like top, she can also lose to mostly everyone in this block, and you won't bat an eye. But yeah, I got her at 2.
Scott, you stole my hot take that she could get a spoiled win and beat Mayu. That's what I was thinking.
Sorry.
I think she'll get like one really big win, but not a lot of wins.
Conflict brings you guys closer.
Think of the pay-per-view. think of this with me. The first IWGP title defense at Power Struggle, New Japan. You got Sonata versus Evil and Natsuko Tora versus Mayu Iwatani. It just works to perfection, except Natsuko Tora will actually still work, unlike Evil. It's a joke. It's not going to happen. But the Evil thing might happen. I have no control over that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to joke because people compare Natsuko to Evil. I think it's the meanest thing ever.
There are the leaders of the cheaty bad guy faction. I see that.
Yeah, but I just saw her in a 5-star match.
She's much Evil in one. Yeah.
Give Evil a
and
cage.
I do appreciate her being
a 5-star
here. She has a different style. She has a different vibe. Like, it just will have a lot of variety in terms of matches. So even if they're not 5-star matches, they're to be different and fun. So I'm excited to see what she'll do.
Yeah, I think Natsuko Tora, I am hoping. I'm a little concerned just because of, as I sort of said, like it is a bit of a make or break for her in terms of where she sits on the Stardom pedestal. But like the past few months have been probably amongst Natsuko Tora's most exciting, both as a wrestler and as a character. And if we get what we saw in the press conference throughout this tournament, I'm really excited to see what becomes of her.
Scott, which comment what got you?
It was definitely about Evil. Evil and Tora on the same pay-per-view. No, that's fair. That's fair. No, it absolutely is the worst comment. The second worst is that Jan comment. Who wants to remember that shitty faction? All right, continue. He sent me.
He's gone again. Ooh, that's a point.
I put him in timeout. Disparaging comments about Jungle Kiona and her faction will not be tolerated while I'm in control. But I'll bring him back because I know he's a big fan of Natsupoi.
Sorry, I was in the poi pose the whole time.
What are your thoughts on Natsupoi?
She's awesome. That's my thoughts.
There you go.
Ryan, what's your thoughts on Natsupoi?
In all seriousness, I love Natsupoi. Like, I really do. I think she will get that Wonder of Stardom title someday. It's a tough block for her this year, though. Yeah, it's a tough block for her. She's going to take a lot of losses. She's going to be in that bottom half, but she's going to put on some great matches along the way, and I'm going to appreciate it. You know, I said Hazuki might be your most Hazuki's now your most consistent competitor because, you know, she didn't have to try to figure out what a strap match was the other day. Not Natsupoi's fault, not Sarah Du's fault. The strap ended up being way too long. I said to Trent, "Oh, I'm happy it's not too short." They just made it way too long, so they had to hold the damn thing the whole time. But in all seriousness, Natsupoi, her and Starlight Kid are going to split spoiler duties this year, which doesn't help Natsupoi's case either because she's lower on the totem pole than Starlight Kid. I think they're pretty even right now, but I think if you're going to favor one over the other points wise, Starlight Kid's going to get the advantage there. But she'll get a shock win over someone, whether that be Tam on the final night, perhaps. That's kind of why they set that match up, I think. But she's going to have a rock solid tournament as she often does. And I get her versus Mayu again. If that match is less than 9 minutes, I'm going to freak out. Give them time. Please.
But even if they don't, like, they can put on a great match in a
it was awesome last year. They had such great chemistry. I'm not going to get it any other way. So, or just have her beat Mayu and I get an IWGP Women's title match out of it. I mean, that works too. See, I am openly admitting for someone to beat Mayu Iwatani just so I can get a longer match. Though, if it's on New Japan TV, it's somehow going to be shorter. So maybe I don't win here at all.
Well, at least they can put on a great match.
I need to give her a number. 2, sadly.
2. Okay.
Boy.
I went slightly higher. I said 3.
Was only 2.
Boy. Did the 3. I think she is below Starlight Kid, below Kamatani, Suri. Like, that's a lot of friends below there. But she'll get a couple of wins. It'll be fun along the way.
6 points. Maybe.
Yeah.
She could stretch to 8.
That's about 7. It. I don't think she'll be a major player, even if she is entertaining during the run. But
she doesn't have a big final night match, though.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of very telling, I think, for her. I'm with you guys. I'm giving her a 2-star here. I think she's going to have some great matches, but like someone in this red block has got to lose. And there's a lot of heavy hitters, and unfortunately, Natsupoi is an underdog wrestler who can take losses, and it doesn't really hurt her that much. She can pick up a couple of shock wins. She's got that high speed aspect. She can play spoiler. But I do think, she's going to be entertaining, but she's going to be at the bottom half of the red block, unfortunately. But Scott will keep trying to poi her way to success.
Hey, someone's got to believe.
Yeah. Well, someone who does believe is the record holder for most defenses of the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Saya Kamitani was the other half of the dramatic Queen's Quest situation that's gone down. A couple of months ago, when I was thinking Utami was going to go all the way, I had her either facing Saya on the final night or facing her in the final. Now it's got to be it's final or bust if that's going to happen. But with how the Queen's Quest stuff unfolded, I no longer think she's the finalist that Utami beats. I think she's a contender. She'll be in there with the final night because obviously Stardom see her as a very important player. But I think she doesn't make the final. So going to be very interesting to see what kind of tournament she has, because after the white belt run, she's been fairly focused on the Utami and Queen's Quest storyline. What the second half of the year has for her, I'm not sure. But it'll be very interesting to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, I have would you say a 4?
I had
contender?
It as a 4.
Yeah, I'm the same wavelength. 4, some significant wins, but I feel like she'll do better next year.
Oh, the Screw believe in Tam. I thought just
it's just not quite time, I think.
Yeah.
It's a crowded main event scene. It's not fair to have this much talent. The Kamitani is going to be your third or fourth option in the block. That's nuts. But I think that's where she is right now. What's your most anticipated Kamitani match here within the block?
For me, it's Suzu Suzuki because they put on an absolute banger last year, and I think those two mesh very well together. I think the only thing that stopped that match from being match of the tournament was it was a little sloppy in the first half of it, and I think now that they've worked together a bit more, I think you can remove that sloppiness. So that's the match I'm most hyped for.
Wow, way to spoil the end of this and just give away the most hyped match of
for Saya Kamitani.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That's fair. I think she's in the most important final night match of the entire show. Ooh. That's including Julia and Utami. Because Julia and Utami, I don't think Julia's going to the final. I think Utami is. I'm very confident in that. I look at Saya Kamitani versus Suzu Suzuki, and I think to myself, that's as much of a toss-up as can be. And I think that's your block decider.
Okay.
I think the winner of that's going. Just like last year with Suzu and Julia. Right? That was your block decider in a lot of ways. It was the final match of that block. Winner moves on. Loser goes home. Feels like the same scenario this year. Do you want Saya versus Utami and just do it because you can? Why not? Right? Because maybe we're playing on personal matchups in the final now. Maybe that's the new method, right? Julia and Tam, Saya and Utami. After everything they've been through this year, back and forth. Possibilities are endless, right? For Saya Kamitani. She is someone that you could see become World of Stardom champion by the end of next year. No one would blink an eye. She's one of those few talents that you watch and you say, yeah, she could be both. She could be both.
Yeah.
She probably will be both, but when it's all said and done. And she gets better and better and better every time she goes out there. I watched her in a plain old tag this past Sunday, and she was doing things that I feel like I've never seen her do. And I was like, why do you just do this? You're so much better than Kota Ibushi. You should say it with your chest. Kota Ibushi's a fraud. I'm sick of him teasing coming back and then just not doing things. Now he is finally, but he disrespected Saya Kamitani. I won't hear it anymore. He said she's dangerous. Yeah, she's dangerous because she's good and she doesn't hurt herself. You hurt yourself when you do the Phoenix Splash. Anyways, that's beside the point.
Unexpected Kota Ibushi slander.
I actually like Kota Ibushi. That's the fun part of it. But
I don't believe you.
I that's fair. I do like Kota Ibushi wrestling, but you don't disrespect Sai. You just don't do it. I think you're absolutely right, Foos. I think top 2 in the block. I think if I give up 2 5s, I would, but I can't. So I'm gonna go with a 4 because I do think that they don't go with the Sai Tommy final. Maybe that changes within the next few weeks. You know, the house shows could change my mind. I haven't wrote out my written preview yet. I'm probably gonna do like 4 more of these, so I'm probably gonna pick 4 different finals. I'll be right on time. This is a little early. Things have
Good
to
strategy.
things have to play out still. I think house show wise, and those can give you an idea. But she's in the most important match of the final night, so I think she at least deserves consideration. If I could give a 4.5, that's what I'd be doing right now.
Well, you can give a 4.5. You can.
I'm
say
giving
that
a
out loud.
4.5.
We make the rules. This is our show.
That's the Dave Meltzer women's match rating you've just given.
Sorry, 4 3/4. Just a little lower than 5.
Yeah. EO versus my 4 3/4. I can't push it to 5. It's an actual rating.
What was that? Well, that's Shuri and Julia at the end of last year.
Yeah,
That got
yeah.
4 3/4.
It's like 3/4 of the women's matches he's rated lately has been 4 3/4. He just can't get over the edge.
Not
because
good
it's
enough.
It
Not
doesn't
in
feature any
Tokyo
young
Dome.
bucks.
Not the It's Osprey. Osprey has the most 5 stars ever.
The greatest.
He has more
but
than
he deserves
Masao.
one like the young bucks. Moving forward,
And you
before I
yelled
get-
at me.
Too
for
much
Ibushi
talk about
saying
men's
that.
wrestling, y'all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's enough.
So one of the other biggest matches of that final night, and has been alluded to already,
God
Mayu
damn right.
Iwatani versus Starlight Kid. This is the other part of it. The New Blood Tag Team Champion, which, let's be honest, doesn't matter. It's a prop. It's
Fair.
basically a.
Whoa, hey now. It gets defended more than the IWGP, so it has a little respect.
Does it? Does it have any respect?
I mean, I forgot it existed until yesterday.
There you go.
To be honest, this was a last minute addition to the visual
Yeah, you
because I'd
forgot.
forgotten as well. Starlight Kid, obviously she's one of the brightest prospects Stardom has, but it has been a quiet year for her. Last year she was kind of always in the mix with the tag titles, the artist titles. This year she's very much just kind of been there. You know, she's been doing a lot of the New Blood stuff, the champion there with Karma, but I haven't really felt like she's stamped her authority. Even in the Oedo Tai Queen's Quest story, she was the third person in that Oedo Tai team kind of acting out and doing stuff. So I don't think she's going to be in contention. I think she's going to be a 3-star prospect. She'll get some big wins. She might cost Mayu Iwatani, be it with a draw or a win. She might finally cross that bridge on the final night. But I don't think she's a major player in this tournament with who she's going up against in the red block. As much as it pains me to say, I think 2023 is going to be a year where she's just kind of resetting and rebuilding. I do agree with 94th minute. I think we are getting a slow burn back to that face turn. I think Starlight Kid in a year and a half goes into an amalgamation of the face and the heel versions of her character. I don't know when that trigger gets pulled, but yeah, that's my thoughts for Starlight Kid.
I'm definitely with you. 3. It doesn't match like where her talent is, obviously, but I've been like looking at the block. I think Suzu finishes higher, Kamatani finishes higher, Shuri finishes higher, Mayu and Tam. Well, that like 6 out of 10. That's middle of the road.
Yeah,
there's just not any room at the top yet, and they had time with her. They're taking their time. They could come to that later. Just like Azumi. Right, it's some other folks' time now. Scott, are you also 3? Are we crazy?
No, and I'm gonna double down here. Starlight Kid has been surpassed. And what I say by that is if there was anyone to be hurt by the signing of Suzu Suzuki, it is Starlight Kid. No one was hurt more by that signing than her. Because who's in the generational struggle matches? Suzu Suzuki, not Starlight Kid. That matters. She is now in the generation below. She is with the Azumis and Hanans rather than the next. And she was in the next the past 2 years. It really felt like she was. She felt like she was the next to break through. She's not there anymore. It's not her fault. She's gotten better and better and better. She's been a key part of the New Blood shows because she's still a draw. She's one of the most popular wrestlers on the roster. But she's only 21. They don't need to force it. It's different now for her. And that last night with Mayu Iwatani is a very important match for her. It's going to be another level of how much have you grown in the past year. I don't think she's going to have many stakes going into that. Much like last year she didn't. If you told me she finished 6th out of the 10, that would probably be the spot I'd see her at. And I think that's okay. I think her and Hazuki and Natsupoi are all in tough spots. They're all going to be fighting to be above one another. So yeah, Starlight Kid's a 3, but favorite of mine. So I'll be rooting for her, of course.
This 3-star claim isn't that we think she doesn't deserve better. It's just it's a stacked tournament, especially as you said with the addition of Suzuki, who, based on what you guys have been saying, I think we're kind of in somewhat agreement here. This is my Red Star 5-star point. I do think she's making the final. Rossi, I would love to know how much Rossi had to pay to pull away from Deathmatch to bring it to Stardom. And
probably not that much because death matches don't make a lot of money.
But I don't think it was ever about the money for her with Deathmatch. Because
I'm sure the money looked pretty good when they gave it to her, though.
But that's what I mean. Like, I think Rossi was patient with her and was like, when you want to come to Stardom, here's a lot of money. This woman right here is the reason why we don't have a better streaming service. This woman right here is why we don't have English language commentary. Because Rossi backed up the Brinks truck to bring in the Prodigy. And I'll be honest, I would have done the exact same thing. This is a massive coup to get her. Now, she's not on the roster pictures. She's not officially signed, but she's signed. She's with the company. Like she's doing all the tours and the stuff. And I think they're going to put her in the Utami position from 2018, in the Himika position from 2020, where it's like, we've just signed you, you're in the final. This is how much we believe in you.
This is also my 5.
Ryan, sorry.
I'm with you, Trent.
Yep.
They believe in her so much. I mean, the first thing that she did was go face-to-face with Julia. Like, I already knew, like, obviously you believe in this person. And then last year, she wasn't even officially full-time part of Stardom. And she was like a contender in the tournament. She beat Mina last year. She beat Momo. She beat Starlight Kid, Kamatani. That's we don't know if we can sign her.
Yeah.
So now that you know you can sign her, you can just load everything up and just go for it. I think she's in the finals as well. And it's going to be awesome getting there.
Do you happen to have the entry players graphic ready? Like, where it shows the whole lineup.
Yeah, I can bring that up. Just give me a second.
Just bring that up for me real quick.
Yeah, just got to go through. There we go.
Because I do think that most of this isn't accidental. You look at that Red Stars block. Who's she ahead of? Hazuki, Natsupoi, Starlight Kid. And the only people she's behind are the reigning World of Stardom champion, the IWGP Women's Champion, and it's freaking Mayu Iwatani. Saya Kamatani, the longest reigning Wonder of Stardom champion in history. And Shuri, the person who's won the 5-star Grand Prix, won the World of Stardom Championship. The list goes on and on and on. You can't put her any further. That's the reason she's there. Now, this is an important spot for Suzuki because she has been signed but hasn't done a whole lot of anything. It could be based off timing. Stardom has a lot of stories going on. They didn't know when she'd sign on the dotted line. They were just waiting. Remember, if you listen to the Ocean Cyclone Show, I said it would happen. Just saying.
Just gonna say that forever.
It did. I am, because people doubted me. And here we are now. She's here. She's signed. She's ready to go. She is, without a doubt, my 5. she's been my 5 since the moment she signed, because I think Suzu Suzuki is already right there in the conversation with a lot of people. There's a reason she's been in the Generational Struggle match. There's a reason Mirai was only in one of them. You know, they want Mirai to be at that level, but she's still below the likes of Suzu. She's still below the likes of Utami, Saya, Micah, even. Micah's high up there. Micah's still high up there, you know? Suzu is going to absolutely destroy this tournament. She's going to have potentially the tournament in terms of matches quality. You know, it's going to be insane. It's the final night. Like I said, that match is going to be the most important. It's her, Saya Kamatani. There's a reason I gave Saya Kamatani a nice 4.5, 4 3/4 Dave Meltzer women's match special. There's a reason I gave her that, because I'm technically going to give Suzu a 4 3/4 too. I'm favoring her, so I guess I'll push it to a 5. We'll be like a teacher here, and we'll round up. We're going to round up for Suzu Suzuki and say she's the 5. Because truly, I could have a different decision in 2 weeks' time, depending what Saya does now that she's kind of the leader while Utami's away, and what Suzu does, because Suzu's not in a group, so that does matter. But Suzu versus Utami Hayashishita final, after Utami either ties or beats Julia and Suzu ties or beats Saya Kamatani. Oh, it sounds a little too good to be true. Who's Suzu's biggest compadre / rival in the company? Julia. Who's Utami's, right hand woman? Saya Kamatani. It feels too right, doesn't it? So I think that's the final we may end up with, and we're in for a good one.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You know what could feel good for an Utami win on the final night? Arguably her biggest rival in Stardom, Shuri.
There's a conversation to be had here.
Yeah.
It's not out of the question that Shuri gets to that final.
Yeah.
We look at Ami Sarai and we say, oh, that's a potential spoiler. Or it's a potential win and she's waiting on that Saya versus Suzu match. Maybe she's in if they go to a draw, or she's out if one of them win. That's very possible. If Red Stars were to go last on the final night and her match went earlier and Saya and Suzu are the last match before the final, sure feels like Shuri could be going to that final. She's as comfortable as a 4 as there is in this tournament, because she is Shuri. She's been on the back burner all year. It would almost feel too right to have Utami beat Shuri to win the 5-star Grand Prix. And you bill it as we're going to have a 2-time winner.
Yeah.
Like I said
Either
earlier.
way, yeah.
Right, with Mayu, it's almost more believable with Shuri. If they want to go the Tam Julia route and do Utami Shuri this time around, the one match that they haven't had against each other, a 5-star Grand Prix final, wouldn't be too crazy now, would it?
That's very convincing. I don't know if I want to change my thoughts there, but
I still have a 4, to be fair. I mean,
but Shuri versus Utami in the final is like a really big money making final. Not that Suzu wouldn't be, but like that, there's history. There's like outside buzz that Utami and Shuri got, and you're like reclaiming that and revisiting that. That's quite good. I do have her as a 4 as well, just because she doesn't lose a lot. She's not going to lose against half these people. I feel like I'm thinking she's the second. She finishes second in the block, just behind Suzu. But 8-2 in her last 10. Won it very recently. Is just top of that food chain. So I don't see her losing more than 3 matches.
If Utami hadn't beat Shuri during the tournament last year, I would almost put this in as a lock, because it would be like Utami has to finally beat Shuri in order to, get to this next level and
Mm.
truly ascend to becoming the top of the company. Because she beat her last year, that doesn't have quite the same impact. It would be getting her win back after they then had the red belt match. But I'm giving Shuri a 4 just because I don't want to give more than 1-5 within this situation because there can only be one finalist in each block. But she is my 4.75 Dave Meltzer
There
special.
we go.
94th minute mentions that Shuri's had a quiet year. She's charging up. She's getting that Kamehameha, whatever the Dragon Ball thing is. She's prepping herself. She's coming in fresh. She had the tag title match, but it's a tag title match. She's not pushing herself hard there. She's going to come in fully ready to just have an absolute barnstorming tournament. Whether it is going to be Utami Shuri in the final, I don't know. I've picked Suzu, but my heart kind of wants it. Well, my heart wants Suzu to be in the final too. I don't know what my heart wants. I want there to be a triple threat somehow because it's just a really exciting matchup. And that's the beauty of the Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix. Like, we can have an idea of who we want to make the finals, but the reality is whoever makes it, it's going to be pretty damn sweet.
Yeah. A lot of great options.
Yeah. And the final wrestler in this tournament, we haven't mentioned her that much, which is kind of surprising because as of, a couple of days prior, she held the 2 biggest titles in the company. She's lost one of them, but she still has the World of Stardom Championship. It is Tam Nakano. Of course, she made the finals last year. She scored 16 points as her 7th appearance, one of the most experienced wrestlers in the tournament. Going to be interesting to see what she does. The world champion always takes a couple of losses. Got to set up the title matches down the line, even if they don't actually follow through with them. But she hasn't lost many matches lately. It's hard to see what's happening. Ryan, what do you think?
Well, champions don't win the tournament. That's a New Japan special. We don't do that here. But she's also not going to lose a lot. I mean, you want to set up a few title matches, but you don't want 8 different challengers. So definitely a 4. Definitely in the mix, but just for me, just below Suzu, Shuri, and maybe even below Kamitani. I just think Kamitani's gonna have a really good tournament. But like Natsukatora, I'm glad she's here because she does things differently. There's gonna be a lot of hard hitting slugfest, but she does this big emotional storytelling stuff too. So the variety is gonna be awesome. But champs don't win, so I'm not going to bet on that.
She should have dropped the title before the tournament so she could win.
Then you would have had a shot. Yeah. Come on, Tim.
The lore fiend herself trapping me with a double title reign, scaring me a little bit, thinking, oh, she might just beat Mirai. There's payback coming for you, Tam Nakano. That's why you're getting a nice old 3. You have to face your demons of Mayu Hitani. You gotta face Natsupoi, so you're gonna cry during that one because for some reason you guys are emotional wrecks every time you wrestle. You gotta fight Shuri, which is one of my favorite GP matches of the past few years. So I'm just excited for that one. You gotta fight Saya Kamitani, someone that has your number. It ain't gonna be easy, Tam Nakano. You may be the World of Stardom champion, but you ain't a finalist this year. Have fun sitting in the middle, buddy.
So 3 stars across the board from you. Oh no, you're 4. Right?
I said a 4, yeah. But maybe a 3.75 if we were
nice
doing all that. But
big respect.
A lower 4 or a higher 3, something right there.
Yeah, I can see her suffering from draws and count out losses to kind of protect her, but keep her out of the running, not set up too many.
How many times doesn't she try? How many times does she just not try in this tournament? What do we think? 4?
What's the over-under?
You think she's just not going to try that much?
Well, she hasn't. She's on a lot. Half of her matches are live, so I feel like those house show matches, she's gonna be like, you know what? Might be a little. Might be time to take a break here today. So she got Starlight Kid at the 5-star special in Hiroshima. She's got Suzu Suzuki at a Corkin. So
Suzu won't let her rest.
That and it's a cork, and you can't. You gotta try in the cork, and she got Natsupoi on the final night. I think she's on the other cork too. I don't remember the date of that. She faced Saya Kamatani night 1, so that's a lot of trying for Tan Nakano.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what she does. She just doesn't do the t-shirt. If you watch her 5-star Grand Prix, when they're in I can't think of the most. When they're in Sendai, yeah, she ain't trying, buddy. She's gonna be like, you want to see wrestlers try in Sendai? Come to a Sendai Girls show. I ain't doing it. I don't even know if she wrestles on the Sendai show, but you get my point. She goes a little she's Naito in every word, in every sense. Sometimes she's just not going to turn it on because she doesn't need to, because she's Tam, and I think that's okay. But she has a lot of live matches, so I think she'll turn it on for those. And
okay.
Her match against Ami Saray won't be a big attempt by her. Let's just say that.
Fair.
But I mean, that's where it comes down to Ami Saray kind of has to carry a bit and prove herself worthy.
That one's in Fukuoka, so yeah, she ain't trying.
Is Micah on that show?
No.
Really? Micah's not getting a Fukuoka match. That's kind of.
They didn't want to have her lose again.
True. So that brings us to we've covered every wrestler. I just want to confirm you guys both have Suzu Suzuki versus Utami in the final with Utami winning. Is that correct?
Yeah,
I do. Yes.
I'm going to swerve. I am going to pick Shuri versus Utami.
I convinced them.
There we go.
I think Utami. I think we've all got Utami winning, going all the way. We can kind of agree on that. It does feel like it's her time.
This is why I won the debate show, by the way. I convinced you to change your final. Oh. Take it away.
There you go.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. You can look it now.
The
So I've
Batman
just got
is
a
gone.
couple of questions for you guys, and then we'll start to close because this naturally has gone longer than I think we all expected. But before we go through the final couple of questions, plug time. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at WrestleIn, at our Patreon, Patreon.com/WrestleIn. You get early access to all of our interviews, early access to all of our podcasts, some exclusive podcasts and exclusive video content. Kieran just uploaded a New Japan TV with Royce Isaacs, where they watch some of his matches and talk through, firsthand what it's like to actually wrestle these things, which is really exciting. So be sure to check that out. Check all the podcasts out. Scott, where can they find you? He's muted. Ryan, where can they find you?
At Ryan Dilbert on Twitter. I have an interview with Rika Tatsumi coming out quite soon. You get it early if you're a Patreon.
Wonderful.
She had some excellent answers. Love her even more.
Beautiful. Part 2. Scott, where can they find you?
At Scott E Wrestling on Twitter. There you go.
Beautiful. And you have interviews coming out. Let's be honest. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And 14 preview shows.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? I'm supposed to have TJPW interview come out. They didn't tell me who, so I had to send multiple questions for multiple people.
Whoa.
Little scared. They said, they'll say, yeah, you'll get one. I was like, okay. It's a lot of questions, folks.
Yeah,
nice little roll of the dice
go.
there. Maybe we finally get that Haruna Nako interview that we've been clamoring for.
Well,
and you can find me at One Up Culture. So the first question that's been put in by Fusa, who do you all have as the jobbers of each block? I have Amy Sarai and Hanan as my resident jobbers.
Not calling.
He looks offended, but someone's got to be there.
Not calling Hanan a jobber, but I do have her having the least points. And I'll go Natsuko Tora.
Yep.
I have Amy Sarai and Mirai May.
I hope you're both right, but I know that the gods are against me on that one. So.
but you'll keep it in your heart. Which wrestler do you think will debut the best new look or new gear?
What about Shuri?
You think Shuri's got something new lined up?
Some fun gladiator styles and
yeah, she does bring it every year.
But just amp it up, put a little, dazzle on it. Not a whole new look, but a new version.
Yep. What about you, Scott?
we're getting that short-haired Utami 5-star run finally that was taken away from us last year. So I think Utami's bringing a whole new look, whole new, the first time we see her back in Stardom will be that first GP match. I think she's coming out with a bang.
The
She's going to come out, be inspired by Nick Gage. She's going to have the Nick Gage look down pat, come out with some deathmatch weapons, and that'd make the Utami Suzu final potential interesting if they both go deathmatch.
That'd be crazy.
Also, we're scrambling to say no, you're worth too much.
Oh, hey now.
We know Julia is bringing new look and new gear. Them's the rules. Yeah. She's always got to have that. I do agree. I think Utami has a new look lined up. Hopefully it's the short hair with a new gear. You go away, you've got to come back with something. Beyond that, who do I think might surprise us? Yeah, no, it's probably just going to be those two. Maybe Hazuki.
I think Mina will go all out. That's a Mina thing
Mina.
to do.
She's had some recent-ish new gear as well, so it's hard to pick on that.
She just has a lot of new gear, I think.
Yeah. Look, if Lady C was in this, she'd have new gear because she seems to change her gear the most. But she's not.
Because it all doesn't get her wins.
She's in the C block. Which match do you think will have the biggest upset?
Ooh.
Out of the entire tournament?
Yes, the entire tournament.
Well,
We've mentioned a few potential upsets.
Yeah, I said Tora versus Mayu.
Yeah, you got Tora
Something
being
like that.
over Mayu.
That's pretty huge.
Yep.
Yeah, that's on my mind.
Either I'm going with one of them, and then whichever one's right, I'll just take it as credit. Either Mariah May or Hanan over Mariah.
Okay.
Yep.
I think someone gets a big boost, big title match. Feels like a good tweener match between the, closing show of the year and the 5-star final. Feels like a one that would make sense. You don't have to worry about a new champion, but it's a big step up for someone like one of those two.
Yeah. I'm going to hurt myself in confusion and say Amy Sarai over Mayu Iwatani.
Hey, how do I take myself out of this?
Because I think, as I said, Amy's going to get one or two
quit a podcast?
Big wins. But unfortunately, I think it's going to be Mayu because Mayu does have to lose a little bit to not be winning the tournament.
Yeah,
so, it pains me to say that. I don't want to say that, but I did. And finally, which match are you most excited for? Doesn't have to be the best match
really tough.
Of the tournament, but which match are you most excited for that's going to happen?
I mean, kind of the obvious answer is Julia versus Utami. Like, how they managed to make it like they haven't had this match before. But I'm really intrigued. Tam versus Natsupoi. You just know. I'm a sucker for the.
You're big into tears.
Yes, I'm a TJPW guy. That's what they do. Yeah. Best friends going against each other, teammates going against each other. The conflicted stuff, like that gets me, and they're both really good at that. So, yeah.
So Julia and Utami's the Julia and Suzu of last year, right?
Yeah.
It was everyone picked it, and I was like, all right, great, we get it. So I'm not gonna pick that. I don't want to be vanilla and just talk about a boring.
We're all gonna do the real answer.
I may take Trent's thunder here, but I'm going Shuri versus Suzuki because it's first time ever match, live opening night. Suzu and Shuri both kind of just they've been biting at the bit for something important, and I don't know. It's gonna be special. My other answer, of course, is Mayu and Starlight Kid because I mean, they book that for me every year.
Yeah. So look, my answer is Utami versus Julia, but that's the obvious answer, so I can't say.
Real original.
I've been called out by Scott, so I can't do Suzu versus Shuri, which is fine. Although they're the two matches I'm most excited for. I'm going to say Micah versus Julia. Because I think that's a match that Micah's really elevated herself over the past year to being, maybe not presented as pure equal, to Julia, but she's asserted herself and she's had incredible 2023. I think Micah gets the win over Julia here, and I think it's going to be an absolute barnstormer because faction versus faction always produces the best matches in Stardom, especially in these kind of tournament situations.
Yeah.
So that's already working for her. Micah's setting out to prove herself, and I think Julia is going to set out to make Micah look incredible. So that match, I think, is going to be very important to how the tournament unfolds for the blue block, and that's a match that I cannot wait to sink my teeth into. We're nearly at 2.5 hours. So I think it's time to wrap things up. Thank you guys, whether you joined in for 5 seconds or have been here from the beginning following this show. It's been great to have you guys interacting with us. Hopefully we get to do something like this again. It is difficult because we all, different time zones, the jobs that we have don't always line up. We're quite fortunate this is public holidays, school holidays, that Ryan can join us during a weekday and do something like this. But hopefully it's not our last live stream. Before we close up, do you guys have any final words here? Scott, we'll start with you.
It's going to be the tournament of the year. G1's got nothing. King of Gates got nothing. N1's got nothing. It's your tournament of the year. Oh, sorry. Princess Cup's got nothing. Oh, I needed to disrespect them all. I don't know. I had to disrespect them. Is there another tournament? The Owen Hart's got nothing. That there. Not
AEW. King of the Ring. King of Death Match.
I tossed the Princess Cup. I tossed the Princess Cup in there. I need to disrespect everyone on the way. It will be your tournament of the year. It's 20 of the best, 19 of the best, plus Amisaray, whichever you prefer. And it's going to be fantastic. Every show has a must-see match. Can't say that about every tournament. You just can't. Some have weak spots in their other tournaments. This tournament delivers every year. It's spaced out so you can follow along. You're not going to get overloaded like the G1, which has, 32 competitors in a month wrestling. I'm going to watch it, but still not every match. I will watch every match of this. You're going to see something special this year. And just enjoy it, because it feels like, based off recent things in Stardom, things are changing. There, star wrestlers are going here, there, and everywhere very, very soon. So the 5 stars when everyone comes together. So enjoy it, because I think things are changing up and moving forward in a good way.
Yeah.
Ryan?
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit earlier about being a newbie, like dipping your toes into Stardom. I do know a lot of people like that. This is an awesome time to do it, to sign up for the Stardom World. You get to see all of the wrestlers. You get to see high stakes rivalries, and I think sometimes people get nervous, I don't know every single wrestler. I don't know all the stories. I don't speak Japanese, but it will be clear. These two hate each other. These are friends. But now they have to go against this is the time to jump in. It is a showcase of the best promotion in the world at their best. I was going to try to say a hot take that it's better than the G1, but I guess it's not a hot take. Scott already said that. So there, just jump in. You won't regret it.
Stardom has had high highs and not low lows this year, but there's been moments of frustration. Maybe things haven't gone as smoothly as they have in the last year or two. But this is where it all kind of comes together. 5-Star Grand Prix is always when Stardom's firing at its best. And right here, we've got 20 of the best wrestlers Stardom can put forward. They're all hungry. They're all looking to prove themselves, because the pecking order has never been harder to define than it is right now. You've got this, the generational struggle story that they're telling in Stardom isn't just a fun story. It's kind of the truth. You've got people who maybe thought they were set in line for greatness and being pushed. Right now, there's no guarantee anyone is. You've got to be at the top of your game. You've got to be improving. You've got to be growing. You've got to appeal on multiple fronts, both as selling tickets, selling merchandise, being amazing in the ring, being a believable champion. They're asking so much of this talent because the Stardom roster is so stacked, and this tournament is going to be proof of that, because you cannot afford to be half-assed in this tournament and expect to do great things next year. That's really exciting for us as fans, because it means going to be just amazing competition. This is when Stardom's firing up. So if you're not signed to Stardom World by now, either sign up right now get the most value out of it, or sign up at the 1st of August and just catch up on the week or so of 5-star that you've missed. But either way, now's the time to get into Stardom. It's going to be firing at all cylinders. Thank you for joining us for this live episode of the Ocean Cyclone Show. We will have a podcast coming out at the start of next month. Yes, the start of next month. We'll be recording at some point. I don't know what we're doing yet. We've kind of bashed around ideas. But the reality is it's going to be something dumb. It's going to be something fun. And who knows who's going to go
Put
at
that
each
on the
other.
t-shirt.
Yeah, we haven't had Ryan versus Scott in a while, but we got it live here and in person. So it'll be fun to see who fires off next. But for Scott, thank you for joining us. For Ryan, thank you for joining us. And for me, thank you for joining us. Talk to you next time here on Wrestling's YouTube website.